Yah, our power, King of the universe, who fashions the light, creates darkness, who makes peace, creates everything. For all shall give thanks to you, and all shall praise you. All shall declare that there is none holy like you. All shall exalt you forever, creator of existence, the power that opens up the gates to the east, the vaults to the heavens, to bring forth the sun from his place and the moon from his dwelling, to give light to the world and its population, which were made through his divine attributes of mercy, who brightens up the earth and those on it, with compassion and goodness, always renewing the work of creation daily. How infinite are your works, Yah? For in your wisdom you have made them. The world is replete with them. The King, who is not like any other, exalted before time, before the reckoning of days, the power of eternity, and your abundant mercy be compassionate towards us. Master of might, rock of strength, the shield of our salvation and our protection. For there was none like you, none besides you, none else but you. Who can be like you, Yah? Our power in this world, and for none even like you in this world to come. There will be none like you. There will be none like you, our Redeemer, in the days of the Mashiach. And there will be none like you, our Savior. Ahabad Allah. With an everlasting love, you have loved us, Yah. Our power with tremendous and great lenity you have bestowed upon us. Our Father, our King, for the sake of your great name, on the behalf of our fathers who trusted in you, for you taught them the decrees of life, that they may fulfill your word completely. So please be gracious with us, Father. Father of mercy, merciful one, we beseech you have pity on us, and give our hearts the understanding to discern, listen, meditate, to instruct, guard, and to practice with love all the words of your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah, so that our hearts may adhere to your commandments. Let our hearts be filled with love in all of your name, so that we may never be brought down to shame or humiliation, or stumble because we place our name in your great and awesome and mighty and holy name. We rejoice in the gladness of your salvation. Yahweh, our power, may your mercy and great kindness never abandon us. Hasten to bring us blessings and peace quickly from the four corners of the earth. Break up the yoke of the nations from amongst us, and quickly guide us to the pride of our land. SH'MA YISRAEL, Yo Elohim, Yo Echad, Baruch Kebo, Makuto, and where you have to I don't know, Alahika, call and make a call and shake a call me a deka. Why you had Davrim, Elia, Shed, and Oki Masaka, Yom Lebeka, Wishing on time, Lebaneka, with the rock time bomb, we should take a bit of a but then it's Shabaka, Uka, make a Ushata, the Ora Yadeka. Why you let told the boat man, Ayaneka, Uka time, I'm to take a Ubisha Deka. Why ya in Shamatis, me U El Mesotai, I shared Anoki Maxway, Ekim, Hayom Ahava, at Yehovah Elaheka, Mula Dover, call the Baker, McCorn, shake them on the Tati, Marton, Edis Kim, be so Yore Umaku, Sata Deganeka. What's it those crowd? But you today when I time no SFB, so they can leave for take away the call. I wish about time. He shall rule the campaign, give Taylor Barkum, what started him with your bottom, Elohim, my cream, his stock away him to him. What cut off your whole back him, I saw Hashemayim, with low, yea, my Torah Adama, with low Titan at your bula, with your bottom, my head on my arm. I edit Hatoba, I shared your whole no tain at him. With Sham to met the Rai Eli all about them all the shake the move time the audio they come out you look up with man I come with a Martin old time and Benet come to the bar bomb beach to take a little take a bit of who should make a who make them who got time up for take a ufi shot they got let my arm get about you make them will make them Benet come Adama I share this back your whole I will take them and tell him he may Hashemayim Edis why you marry Yehovah El Moshe let more than that bed El Bene Israel but Amarta Elohim why Sula him Zizi I can't make him let Doro time when a time new Zizi I can't up until to kill Wahaya let him let Zizi Uri Team Oto who started him and call Metota Yehovah why see him all time when Loti Toro I create a vacuum I create a lekum I share our teams on him I create him let my aunts through I see them and call Metota why eat him Waroshim le Elohim Ani Yehovah Elohim I share ho Titi at Kem and it's Ryan let him yo let him let Elohim Ani Yehovah Elohim Emet Yehovah Elohim Emet and established correct, enduring, self-evident, without failure, enduring, pleasant, awesome, embrace, accepted, good, beautiful are the instructions that have been placed upon us forever and ever. True is that you are the power of the universe. It's our King who is the rock of Jacob, the protector of our salvation. Throughout every generation he exists. His name, his throne, his rules are established, constant and immutable forever. Indeed it is true. His teachings are life, eternal, unchanging, pleasant for our forefathers upon us, our children, their children, and all future generations, who are the seed of Israel, your servant for all eternity, forever and ever. From the first to the latter generation, it is good, enduring, unchanging, doctrine of truth. True is that you are Yah, our power, the power of our forefathers, Redeemer of our forefathers who fashioned us, who is our rock of our salvation, the Savior and deliverer has always been your name. And we will never have any other power but you. Selah, you have been a help to our forefathers from ancient time, a shield and savior to them, to the children of every generation. You dwell in the heights of the heaven, your judgment and righteousness reaches the ends of the earth. True is it that a man find fortune in observing and placing your Torah in his heart. True is it that you are he who is the master of your people, and the king who resolves issues for both parents and children. True is that you are he who is the first and the last, and there was none beside you. You are a king who redeems and saves. True is that you, Yahweh, our power, who redeems from us from Egypt, from the house of bondage, executing the firstborn while delivering the firstborn son Yisrael. For you parted the sea of reeds on their behalf, allowing them to walk through the sea and covered the oppressors, drowning them, not allowing one of them to survive. For this your beloved one gave praise, extolled you. Who is the power? Additionally, your cherished ones gave melodious praise, songs, exaltations, blessings, gratitude to their great king. The power who is loved and lifted up in great lives eternally, who humiliates the arrogance of the earth, while raising up the meek. Freed those in prison, rescuing those suffering those who will lack answer to his prayers when they call upon them. They gave glory to the Most High power, their Redeemer. Blessed be he who is blessed. Moses and the children of Israel lifted up their voice in song with great celebration, said, who is like you amongst the mighty, Yah? Hey, who is like you, great in holiness, majestic in praise, and doeth wondrous things? Your sovereignty, Yahweh, our power, did your children witness upon the sea. And unison they gave thanks and received their children witness a great sea. Blessings and all gave thanks and received your sovereignty and said, Yah will reign forever and ever. It is stated the Redeemer Sabbath is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Blessed you, Yah, the Redeemer of Israel. Master, open up my lips that my mouth proclaim your praise. Blessed you, Yah. Our power, the power of our forefathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, the power of Jacob, the power of the great, preeminent, magnificent, the most high power, who bestows superb kindness, owns everything, considers the kindness of our forefathers, bringing a redeemer to their descendant for the name's sake with love. The king who is merciful, delivers, protects. Blessed you, Yah. Our power, protector of Abraham. You are mighty for dead and giving life through you, the great deliverer, who causes the wind to blow and the rain to fall, who supports the living with kindness, raises the dead with great mercy, upholds the fallen, heals the sick, free those that are bound, faithful in that sleep in the dust. Who is like you, ruler Almighty? Who can compare? Give life, cause salvation to blossom. You are faithful to resurrect those. Blessed are you, Yah, who raises the dead. The Holy One is your name, and Holy Ones praise you every day, Selah. Blessed are you, the holy power. You are enriched mankind with knowledge, teaching, understanding unto all who are mortal. It is you who have made the distinction between the holy versus the mundane, light versus dark, Israel versus the nation, 7th day versus the 6 days of work. Inasmuch you have made a distinction between the holy versus the mundane, you have separated us from danger and harm, and from all kinds of wicked people and disasters that emerge in the world. Please bestow upon us your knowledge and wisdom and discernment. Bless you, Yah, to give us knowledge. Our Father, let us return to your Torah. Bring us closer to the worship and complete repentance in your presence. Bless you, Yah, who wishes for us to repentance. Our Father, forgive us, pardon us, for we have committed offenses and sin. For you are the Father that is powerful for goodness and forgiveness. Bless you, Yah, who is gracious to forgive. Take notice of our affliction. Fight our battles, expedite and redemption with a full redemption for the sake of your name. For you are the power who is mighty and the Redeemer. Bless you, Yah, who redeems. Heal us, Yah, and we will be healed. Deliver us, Yah, and we will be saved. For it is you that boast, induce healing and cure us from all our afflictions, diseases, and wounds. For it is you that is merciful, the power that heals. Bless you, Yah, who heals the affliction of your people, Israel. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless you, y'all. Remember the Sabbath is a holy day. Bless you, Yah, who made the Sabbath day holy. Bless you, Yah, who returned his divine presence to Zion. We give thanks to you, our power, our rock, and protector of our lives from generation to generation. We thank you and we'll part your prayers for our lives that are signed into your hands, for our souls that are entrusted to you, for the marvelous wonders that are every moment in time. Evening, morning, afternoon, you are the good one, because you never withhold your mercy. You are the gracious one, because you never withhold your kindness. All living shall praise and bless your great name, for you are the power that is good. Bless you, Yah, the power of your essence. Our power, the power of the forefathers, blessing with a threefold blessing found written in your Torah. By the hands of Moses, your servant, which was spoken by the mouth of Aaron, who are trusting your priest to sanctify people pronounce. Bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Lift up our countenance and give us peace. Then they should put my name upon the children of Israel and establish peace forever. Hallelujah. Take it to the land my fathers live, Yahweh. Take me to the land my fathers live, Yahweh.
By the rivers of Babylon, we sat down here, we cried, Yahweh. Think about the roots of Yahweh. By the rivers of Babylon, we sat down here, we cried, Yahweh. Think about the roots of Yahweh. He's Yahweh. Yahweh. He's Yahweh. 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 Hey! 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 Come on, Israel! Hey! I want to take it to the land my fathers live, Yahweh. I want to take it to the land my fathers live. By the rivers of Babylon, we sat down here, we cried, Yahweh. Think about the roots of Yahweh. By the rivers of Babylon, we sat down here, we cried, Yahweh. Think about the roots of Yahweh. He's Yahweh. Yahweh. He's Yahweh. Yahweh. Yeah.
Come on! Yeah!
Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Giving all glory, all praise to the God of the universe, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the great, mighty, revered God, the Most High God, who bestows loving kindness, who possesses all things. Oh, Heavenly Father, we invoke thy divine aid upon the scholars, teachers, associated in the study of the Torah in the land of Israel, in Babylon, and in all the lands of our dispersion. Oh, Heavenly King, we cry out to you. Save us. Save us from ourselves. Save our hearts and our minds, that we may be acceptable before you when we approach before you to glorify your name, Almighty God, that you would let it be. For there's none like you in heaven above, on earth beneath. Giving thanks and praises unto you. Let the Ruach, the Spirit that is given to you from SH'MA YISRAEL, be true. Let it be true, Almighty God. Take away feeling. Take away the negativity. Let righteousness prevail. Let it be seen here. Now, Yehovah, thanking you so much for the great man that you set before us, Rabbi Ford, Rabbi Matthews, Rabbi Yisrael, Rabbi Yeshurun, Rabbi Paris, Rabbi Poisson, Glory and praise to your holy name. Yah Most High, great King. Ho Kabod Lakah. Thank you, Yah. And ask that you will continue to bless us. Bless our hearts, our minds, our thoughts. With that, which will bring us close to you. Hey, I want to thank you for the men that you appointed that will come before you and proclaim that our name is Yisrael. Thank you for Nasi Yaakov. Thank you for my teacher, Cohen Lewy. Thank you for my brother and a teacher, Morey Mishael. Thank you for my brother, Cohen Mikael. Bless him.
Hallelujah.
Thank you for Chief Prince Hezekiah. Bless him.
Hallelujah.
Be with Cohen Pincus. Bless and heal Cohen Pincus. Now Jehovah. Glory and praise. Glory and praise. To Yah Most High. Almighty Yah. Let this day be a glorious day. In thy name. Now, Yehovah, be with Chief Dawid and his family and Princess Sarai and give them strength. Be with my brother Yishai and bless him. Yah Most High. Be with my brother Stan and his wife Erica. Bless them. Be with my brother Mikael and his wife Aisha. Bless them. Oh, Yah Most High. Be with Emma Naomi. And bless her with strength and good health and long life. Let her know I love her.
Take it to the land.
Most High, be with my Emma, who I love. Emma Shira.
By the rivers of Babylon.
Love you, Emma. May God bless you. Emma Yehuda, bless her.
By the rivers of Babylon. We sat down and we cried,
Yah Most High.
He's the
Glory and praise to you. Be with Emma Ora. Bless her.
He's Jehovah, Yahweh.
Oh, Kabod Lakah. Oh, Kabod Lakah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah.
Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah.
Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem, Shel Yahuwah. Blessed be the name of our God. Blessed be the name of our God. Blessed be the name of our God. Blessed be the name, come on, of our God. Who no te lekem, whom I am come. Who no te lekem, whom I am come. Who no te lekem, whom I am God. Who no te lekem, whom I am God.
He gives us bread.
Come on, preacher.
And our water too.
Yeah.
Hey, he gives us bread and our water too. He gives us bread and our water too. He gives us bread. He gives us bread and our water too. like Jehovah our King.
like Jehovah our King.
There is no God,
There is no God
like Jehovah our King. There is no, like Jehovah our King.
Yeah.
There's no God, there is no God like Jehovah our King. Yeah, Baruch Hashem,
Baruch Hashem,
Tell Yahuwah,
tell Yahuwah,
Baruch Hashem,
Baruch Hashem,
Tell Yahuwah,
tell Yahuwah,
Baruch Hashem,
tell Yahuwah, Baruch Hashem, tell Yahuwah.
Here we go. We need help, y'all. Hey, help Yisrael, Yahuwah. Help Yisrael, Yahuwah. Help Yisrael, Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah. It's been too long, Yahuwah. It's been too long, Yahuwah. It's been too long, Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah. Let not the heathens defeat us.
Let not the Gentiles deceive us.
I said, let your love shine, cause it's so divine. Come now, my Father, and lead us.
Ah, ah, ah.
Let me hear the ooh, y'all. Here we go. Ooh.
Come on now.
Here we go.
Ooh.
And I love you so. Break it down, hey. Break it down, break it down, break it down. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Hey, help Yisrael, Yahuwah. I said, help Yisrael, Yahuwah. Hey, Yahuwah. Come on, drummers, y'all ready? We're going to take it out. Here we go. Let me see if y'all ready. Let me see if y'all ready. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Say who? He wasn't ready.
Chief Absalom.
He wasn't ready. He's fired.
We ain't gonna lie on the Shabbat. It was Chief Absalom. He just wanted to keep on praising, but giving all glory, giving all praise to the God of our forefathers without a shadow of a doubt, man. We're somebody in our righteousness and in our fear before the God of all things and everything. Give him your heart, man. Give God your heart. Open your heart up to God on this day and let him lift you to a point to where you take it home with your family. Huh? And you make it a permanent resident. Huh? That we go up a degree. SH'MA YISRAEL, you're open for all people. Give God the glory. Thanking him so much, man. Hallelujah. Shabbat. I like to give due respect to my teachers, Cohen Levi Nasi Yaakov. All glory. We're here today because God, the God of our forefathers, appointed us to be here. You understand? He said, 6 days shall thou labor, but the 7th day is a Shabbat. And it's a sign between the children of Israel and the Most High God. That invitation is given to you, Israel, before all the earth is invited. They come with the understanding that they come through the doors of the house of Jacob, right? Because why? In the end of the days, all the nations going to say, come, let us go up to the top of the mountain, to the house of the God of Jacob. And they got to enter in like in the time when we were supposed to go into the law, to the land, and you had 6 tribes on one mountain and the other 6 on another mountain, and we recited the laws, and we all said amen to it. You enter into this way of life being humble before God. You enter into this way of life with a contrite spirit. I don't care if you got 40, 50 years in this way of life. The end of the matter is that you're humble. The end of the matter is that the longer you in, the more humble you get. And the more you obtain and learn. Huh? That's right. With a contrite spirit, he who trembles at the word of the Almighty God. That's what makes you a big shot. Not that you can run your mouth and can't nobody else say nothing. No. What makes you a big shot is that the word of God is seen and shown upon you, upon us as a family, men and women. Give God the glory that's due to his name on this day. Thank him with all your heart, soul, and might on this day. Open up your heart to God so that he may enter in. That means ill feelings must go. It must go. Correction has to set in so that we get understanding and be able to look upon ourselves and see our wrong and confess it. Give it to God. That he destroy it by enlightening us, by opening up our hearts and our soul and our might to a holy way. And the world would be at your feet. Why? Because Israel is God's son, his firstborn. So our God is the king of the universe. The earth is the Lord's, the world, and they that dwell therein. And guess who we are? The landlords. You understand what I'm saying? We're not insignificant. Only when you play yourself. Only when you despise your birthright like Esau despised his. Huh? You understand? But we love this way of life. We love it. And we're learning how to fit in it by seeing our wrong and our mistakes. And you step up and be holy before our God. We're going to move on. I got my son here from Georgia, from Goshen. And I'm thanking God. Because I get the opportunity, and it's only of God, that I get the opportunity to see all 5 of my sons in a holy calling before God. With their father, fighting for righteousness. You understand? We got to be able to correct each other. And the most of all, we got to be able to receive correction so that we give God, our King, something to work with. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Without any further ado, I'm going to call up my son, Prince Yashuvel. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And he ain't even my firstborn. What are you, the third? Yashuvel the third. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Everyone may be seated. Hallelujah, man. It's always an honor to be here, and giving glory to such a king is a beautiful thing, you know, and to see the faces, to see the brothers, to see the strength, to see the zeal to worship God. You know what I mean? It's a powerful thing because sometimes we're so relaxed and we're so laid back that we don't want to get out of character. We want to be so smooth. But when you praising the Creator, there's a sensation that come over your body. You know what I mean? Like it's something that's nothing else. And when I hear the words of God and when I hear the sanctification of the glorious King, that should move you. And that's the power. I thank the Almighty for every single thing he has done in our lives. And like my Abba said, I'm coming from Goshen. So I don't know if many of you heard, but that's a 140-acre Hebrew Israelite community in Atlanta, Georgia. And I want you to understand it's well supported by SH'MA YISRAEL and putting in the work and sending brothers down there to go help out and put in some work. And this is not a cheap project. The project is already over $500,000 in. So it's not a joke. This is not something, you know, the design was just so mapped out well that we put things inside the downtown area to generate income and revenue to provide jobs for people in the outside. So we even have a transitional home if you can't even get there directly and buy you a home, and then we even got rental homes on the property. So, you know, right now it's three houses, but there's things coming in there. So keep in your mind that there's a lot of things that we have to do. And while he's fixing something for me, I want to go into a dream I had, and the dream is kind of shaky, but in reality, you understand after the things were happening. And this world is elevating itself to another level of lewdness, right? So I had a dream, and in this dream, I was in a mall or like a complex, but it was a place that we lived, but it was a mall, and it had Hebrews, non-Hebrews. It was just a world where people were in there just communicating with one another, trying to enjoy life. And in it, there was a new crave. People were watching other people be intimate with each other, right? On live feeds. So in it, they would watch these things on live feeds, and they were entertained by it. So in it, everybody's on their laptop, they're on their tablets, they're going through it. It's the new crave, but these people didn't know they were being recorded, right? So in it, I see signs all over the place, and I see signs, and it's people's faces with their mouth open, and you know, when in the comic book, and Prince Shem know the word, but what? Onomatopoeia. All right, it's a little jagged box where you say something like bam, boof, whatever, yeah, or you say something loud, but in everybody's mouth, it was this sign. And one of the signs, it was Venom. And Venom had the same sign in his mouth. So really that denotes the explicit nature of what's going on inside of this environment. So the people realized that they were being recorded in their intimate sessions with whoever. It was just random sex. You know, this is the reality of the world. People say they got friends, you automatically assume that they doing it. That's what friends are today. I don't got no friends. You know, I don't need no friends. Shoot, friends give you some things that you don't need to go home with. All right, so in it, the people realized that they were being recorded, and they figured out it was the person that owned the complex. It was the person that was in charge of it. So they were outraged. So they removed the guy, but they still kept the curriculum because they were making money. They found out the guy was shipping the videos across to Japan and Asia making money. So they were so into the money, they were like, man, we don't know the Asians. We don't know Japanese. Go ahead. Let's keep this thing going. So they kept the schedule. So it made me think about it. So I remember seeing myself in a dream, just in this place, washing the walls, like scrubbing it down, trying to clean it, you know, and that's I guess in my mind, trying to purify this place. But then I woke up and I'm like, man, this dream was like too clear for me. But it kind of shows us that even if we remove the system, we still will continue to perpetuate the system because of the stuff that's inside of us. And we got to start thinking now. So when I look up Venom represented the American drug system and how they treated mental illnesses as people were criminals. So even your vaccinations, when you get a child, or the Pitocin that's given into the mother to induce her labor, as this stuff is creating you into some kind of zombie. It's making your hippocampus shrink, is allowing you to be emotionally imbalanced. So we are played on, and our illnesses and all this medication that we got is making us, you don't need no microchip because you drugged up. We walking around here and we cleave to the society so much that Goshen only looks like a dream, but it's something that's very tangible. Most people don't want that. They don't want that. They want the lewdness of society. They want to be able to see people walking around and looking out of line. Ain't no way in the world you can complain about a society and be so happy in it. It doesn't make no sense. So SH'MA YISRAEL is going in a certain direction, and we're trying to make sure that we support every avenue. SH'MA will be the Mecca, the hub, the bringing people into this way of life, you know, and people will migrate or move into different areas to even expand, but also fill up Goshen, because a community where we still have these things in us, but we got to get them out of us. It's going to take some time. We're gonna be zombies for a little while. We're gonna get them out. And then by the time we get ourselves straight, it's time for anybody else to come down there. We're gonna screen them. We want to know what you're listening to, what you do in your life, the things that are going on. See, I've been doing this for all my life. I was about to say 35, but I almost lied. I'm almost 40. 39 years. You old, Abba. Chief Yashar was telling me about writing the will, so I'm gonna talk to you later. Hey, you never know, right? But I want to go into the lesson. I want to go into the thing before I set up in the lesson. But I want to set up a couple of things before I go directly into. Let's go to the first thing, man. Because that's what I come to do, man. Make SH'MA great again. Yeah. I've been talking with all the princes, all the chief men, and when I put on this hat, I feel like a superhero, right? So we're gonna make SH'MA great again. And this is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna go step by step. We're gonna unveil certain things, show you the direction that we're trying to go into. Then we're gonna go into lesson Chayei Sarah. And I want to touch on something from my heart, because there's a lot of things that's transpiring, and the Almighty's within everything, and God is awesome and powerful. So we're gonna make SH'MA great again. Everybody down with that? I remember the ancient days, but even with Elder Prince Nathaniel, when we were marching in the streets, sometimes we think that we create this nostalgia about how awesome it was, but it doesn't mean we can't create something greater. Right. Under that same person, under the same war prince that we have here, to make us move, to make us militant, to make us diligent, to make us disciplined. Right? Let's go to the next slide. All right. So here we go. Chief Yashar, you did a good job, man. That was nice. That was nice. That's nice. No. It was nice, man. You said you did this, right? That is nice. You did this on your phone? Good job, man. I like that. But how about let's go to the next slide? All right, what y'all think about that? That's SH'MA new logo. Hallelujah. Nah, I ain't do that. I ain't even gonna take credit for that. But it says SH'MA YISRAEL, established 1994. SH'MA YISRAEL, ancient Hebrew home of the warriors and scholars, right? And when we put emphasis on scholars, because we always was pushing warriors, but now it's time for us to push scholars. You know, you got brothers out there. We got the brothers out there on the street doing street teaching. We got the marching. We got the soldiers. Everything going on. But now we need where's the businesses? Where the business group at? SH'MA got to have a separate for businesses. Three brothers come together and they make sure businesses are starting to open up for the organization, where people don't have to go out of other places and get jobs. And then they say, hey, well, I can't get off on Shabbat. I don't know what's wrong. You don't have to. We work for ourselves. That's how we got to start dominance. All right. Now, next slide. All right. A more organized SH'MA. Now, this is not the SOG, because the SOG has more detailed rules. But these are rules and regulations for SH'MA that we could print out packages for next week, where every individual can have a copy of it. Huh? No, it's good. So everybody can have a copy of it. We got rules on marriages. We got rules on how to solve civil issues. We got rules on judgment. We got rules on everything. We're covering every single angle. You got to tell you how long your skirt going to be. It's not just word of mouth. Sister such and such told me my skirt. No, it's on a piece of paper. And you sign yourself to it. You're part of an organization. And this is part of what we're trying to do as an organization, to be more diligent and serious about what we're doing. Now let's go to the next slide. All right, the testimony of the Council of Princes is a overseeing body that connects itself to the ancient structure of Bene Elohim. These will be the people who weigh out who gets titles. It's a council. They're going to evaluate you as an individual to see if you're worth it. Do you have the merit? It's not just going to be titles handed out no more, right? Princes, chiefs, everything means different things now. If you're a chief, you have to be a chief over an organization. What is your organization? What part of or what department are you over? Yeah, what's your position? You say, I'm a chief, I'm a prince. I ask you, okay, what you do? Hey, bro, I'm just living. We don't want that no more. And then the war prince is going to have to check you. If you're out of line and you're not doing your job, then you're going to have to get removed, because everybody's going to want to know what you're ahead of. So now every time you're a chief, you got a whole thing that you're responsible for. And so your life changed now. Now you elevated to a status of holding something that was created by the Almighty. See, when you go into work, you work for money, but you here and you working for Yah. That's a different work. That's a different work. You got to have a whole nother level of zealousness. Hey, bro, I'm tired. I got to go to the camp, man. Well, Prince said if I ain't make it, he taking away that title. Yeah. Because I've been slacking. Hey, yeah, you got to do it. You got to be serious now. It's an order, it's a structure. There's a whole, I can't go through everything, but this is things that we're putting together so it can be strong. This is stuff that Abba, Prince Nateo, Elder Prince Nateo will all be a foreman, and everybody, the Prince Gabriel, we're all active in doing this and trying to make things better. Because guess what? We became stagnant. We became real stagnant. We thought that just worship was enough, and worship ain't enough. It's the work of Yah that you got to put in these streets. Ain't a day go by that ain't no music playing out there to drown out that music. When somebody in the camp hit the speakers up and put some spiritual music out there, when they walk by, they just want to ask questions. Have somebody handing out flyers. That's what needs to be happening. This should be our area. This is our culture. From this block, we go in there, we put stacks of flyers in the bodegas. So they want to know about spirituality here, man. We support you. Here, put this right here. We want this right here on this thing. Or we don't support you no more. You let people know there's a Hebrew Israelite community. We out there helping them. Yeah. I was sitting there, me and my brother Prince, and I tell you, we sit here meeting over the phone, and sometimes our hours is this and that. And I talked to War Prince this a week, and we're gonna get things together and make it happen. We're gonna make these things happen. Let's go to the next thing. All right, there go the new Benazai King School of Torah and Hebraic Studies coming spring of 2019. So now, if you hold the title or you're trying to hold a title, you must go through our online 2-year curriculum in order to maintain the title or get a title. See, it ain't just hand you get a title, everybody get a title. No, it's going to be based off your works and your education and your ability to maintain it. Who you know? You know somebody, oh, I got this for you, I got this for you. We're not doing that. We're going to be strict. You're going to have to go through the classes. If you don't want to go through the classes, it's okay. It's not for you. You're going to have to tell us how many people you brought in law. You want to be somebody. You brought somebody in law? No. All right. Well, you're going to have to move up in ranks. We're going to be checking behind you. We're going to be checking your household. How is your relationship between you and your wife? How can it help and be beneficial to the community? We want to raise greater individuals. Right. Greater individuals. And this is something that we got to look forward to. We got to have the ability to change. Structure, that's what people want. Structure, that's all people want. And I remember when I was SOG, we structured, we were disciplined, and that's how it's going to be for you. And you're going to be pushed to the limit. It may not be for you. It may not be for you. And we want to scare you. Because if you want to work for something, you want something so bad, you're going to go above and beyond to get it. I mean, life is, man, I'm just so stressed and depressed. And yeah, okay, I'm depressed too. Let's do it depressed style. Yeah, let's add a little flavor to it, flair to it. Because in truth, in reality, if things are eating you up in the world and you're depressed or you're stressed, if you don't have moral goals you're accomplishing, then you're going to be sucked into that depression. So then you got to fight hard to get out of it. Let's go to the next thing. We got classes like Path to Understanding Biblical Hebrew, right? And we'll be using the First Hebrew Primer, 3rd edition. A few people already started this class, but this is a mandatory class. And in 2 months, guaranteed 2 months, you'll be reading and interpreting Hebrew out of the scriptures, using the Torah, not even needing much of a dictionary. In 2 months, guaranteed. Guaranteed, huh? Or your money back. We're gonna drag you to the lawn. You gotta write letters and all types of stuff. Yeah. But you're gonna be learning now. You're gonna be excited, right? My brother here, he can tell you about the class. The class is not hard. It's not serious. We don't really care about what you got going on. We want to know what you got going on for your nation. Yeah. It's not okay if you can't do it. That's okay. You're not a leader here. That's all right. We love you, but you don't belong here leading. You can be in the seat praising and worshiping and giving glory to God. We love that. But if you are anybody that hold any rank in here, you're going to be here when you have to be here. You're going to be here on time. You're going to be setting an example for everybody else. Nothing else will be tolerated here. Because no stagnation will be accepted. You're going to learn classes like next one. Back. Yeah. All right. Deep look into Hebraic philosophy. This is the book called Moses Maimonides and me, Prince Nathaniel. Young Prince Nathaniel, we read this. It's called The God for the Perplexed. It explains biblical philosophy and how people thought. It breaks down stuff. It's deeper interpretation, understanding what God does, what he don't do, things that you cannot go into blaspheming God's name. And it's really a solid foundation of what you're starting to learn. So next slide. Now we got comparative studies of Hebraic halakha commentary and Mishnaic halakha and commentary. You say, we got a Hebraic halakha? Anything a halakha just means the way of going about doing things, right? So Israelites do have a Hebraic halakha. People don't know. We've been working on it. We just ain't telling everybody, we ain't bragging, but I want to show you some comparative studies compared to our halakha and their halakha, okay?
Who's that?
The European Ashkenazi Jews. And even some non-Ashkenazi Jews, I want to show you their halakha. And I'm going to break it down. And you're going to tell me, which one is better, the Hebraic one, or the Mishnaic one, the rabbinical one. All right, so I'm gonna let you, so we're going to keep score. We're going to do about 3 of them. You're going to tell me which one's better. Let's go to the next one. All right, so I really get it because it's not all in there. Let me see, is it?
I like that parachute.
All right, so this is one of the first commands in the scriptures, and I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. Now, be fruitful and multiply. I almost got it. I'm almost there, y'all. All right, here we go. All right. The Hebrew word peru or bu, Bereshit 1:28. So most of us, we think this is just have babies, right? Huh? Everybody think this is just having babies, huh? And your brother's like, yo, sister, fruitful, multiply. So what's your name, sister? My husband named me Fruit. Okay, Peaches. All right. All right. We got the purpose of the command. We explain the purpose of the command. We breaking down every single command in detail. We going beyond the 613. If they have more, there's stuff that they didn't even utilize. They didn't even break down. I'm going to show you how ours is more advanced. So this is ours right here, right? The Most High gave this command for a man to marry a woman and beget children and preserve his lineage. The word Rab means to master, increase, and abundance. The use of this word implies one must master their surroundings in order to create an environment conducive not only to the production of his offspring, but also the preservation of them. So now it's not just having children, but you have to master the things around you to preserve these children, an environment to create for these children. So that's something that's deep now. That's deeper than what we were taught, right? That was deeper than what we were taught. You get that little wine, you're like, sister, let me take you to Bereshit 1:28. All right. How is the law applied in our lives today? Unions must be made with the intent of carrying out this command. Man could begin to perform this mitzvah at the age of 20. Now, I'm going to go to theirs after this, and I'm going to show you how I was different. As we see in this age, young men are permitted to become men of war. Numbers 145. So were all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers for 20 years old and upward, and they were able to go forth from war. Age alone cannot be used to determine eligibility to begin embarking on performing this mitzvah. This can be seen in scriptures through the Hebrew word Judah uses for Selah. You remember when Judah he told Selah to come back, and he'll give a Tamar when he become of age. The eligibility to marry, the word he used, Ad Yigdal Selah. The word Yigdal is the form of the root word Gadol, which means to increase in size and or one's position of honor. So it's not just the size, he has to increase in the position of honor, right? Therefore, complete eligibility to embark in fulfilling this mitzvah must be approved by a Beit Din. So now, whatever congregation you're a part of, marriages must be approved by the judicial system that's there. So if a man is not eligible enough and he's like, yo, he's all over the place, the community will say yes or no on your marriage, just like the government. But now you got oversight, and then you can go off and say, I'm going to marry him anyway. I love him. And then you'll be back in this camp 5 years from now. It's true. This is how it works. It works because you think you're smarter than society and the system. See, women are not naive. Sometimes they're so confident in their ability to love that they think they could change men.
Right.
Think about that now. There's no woman in a bad relationship. You're just half of the bad relationship. It's realistic. Let's think about this. You said, oh, he don't take care of his kids, but that's all right, because when I get him, he going to take care of the kids with me. Right? You know, women had this logic because he wasn't loved like he about to be loved by me. Women had this logic. That's not naive. That's confidence. That's ego. You don't like the way the world is, so you determined to show that the world going to work the way you want it to work, and it doesn't work like that. All right? All right. We see in the scriptures men typically marry later than women, likely due to the difference in their emotional maturity. We're going to go through that today. Women age can begin assisting a man in his mitzvah by becoming his wife to be determined by her parents or approved by the Beit Din. The union must be produced at least one male child raised in Torah, married in a union approved by the Beit Din in order to fulfill the mitzvah. In the event the wife cannot provide her husband with a child, it is her responsibility to her husband as his helpmeet to willingly assist him in his pursuit of another wife to support the fulfillment of this mitzvah, right? If a union has only produced a female children, the wife may, but is not obligated to assist in the pursuit of other wives as the sex. So if that union didn't produce a male child, the woman is not obligated to help. She may, but she's not obligated to assist in finding, because the man determines the sex of the child. You can never say, "Oh, I got to get another wife because I ain't getting no man child around here." That's not how it works. You got to look at yourself. Look, when you come out of that shower, say, "Self, we got to do better. We got to do better." All right. Let's go to the next slide. So this is theirs. All right, so they give the whole thing, be fruitful and multiply. It's a mitzvah for every man to marry a woman in order to beget children. Oh, that was so bland. That was okay. All right, when the male reaches the age of 18, he becomes subjected to this mitzvah. So now do you just subject him to the mitzvah because he's 18? All right. Where's the scripture in that? All right, in order for a man to fulfill the mitzvah, his wife must bear him at least 2 children, a boy and a girl. I don't know. This is just what they say. In other words, if a man wife bears him 5 boys or 6 girls, he has not fulfilled his obligation regarding the mitzvah. I don't know. This is actually halakha, bro. This is not European. This is the foundation of most. So some of this is commentary, and I'll go into what part is commentary. And this is the TORAH. So all right. So if one is physically unable to beget children, or if one children dies, with shalom, leaving him childless, he still has not fulfilled his requirement concerning the mitzvah. However, if the deceased child did leave children, a boy and a girl of their own, then he is satisfied his obligation in reference to this mitzvah. If one wife fails to bear children after 10 years of marriage, he is obligated to divorce her and marry another woman. Where'd they get that from? Who won that one? We won? He brags? All right, we got one. We got 1-0. Let's go to the next slide. This is stuff we're going to be studying, though. All right. And thou desire should be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. The sisters don't like that one. They like that. I'm going to read that with passion. Hear ye, hear ye. All right. No. All right. So now, the purpose of this command, the word. All right, and here I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to tell you we won this one too because they don't even interpret this as a command. All right, the word teshukah is interpreted as desire, but it's literally describing the back and forth flow of a river through a land. In ancient times, this flow symbolizes life and adaptability. Being that a river flows and adapts to an environment, likewise, a woman should also apply this through her life's journey by constantly adapting to her husband's thoughts, growth, and tutelage. She should be a reflection of him as it is implied in the Hebrew word mashal, which is translated as dominion, but it also carries the meaning of reflection. To support this command ends the construct word bak, meaning in you, not over you. Literally reading, he shall be reflected in you. Again, playing off the concept of the feminine aspect of water. How is this law applied today? Before marriage, the Beit Din must make sure the couple share similar overarching goals in which both of them constitute a part of the overarching goals and vision before giving them the go-ahead to couple. So what does that mean? If y'all don't have similar goals, then y'all not going nowhere together. Y'all not. What's your goal? What's your goal? I want to be a escape artist. I want to be a solitary confinement. That's two different goals. That's not going to work. Yeah. You got to ask a person what's their goal. Don't ask them what's their Facebook page, what's their Instagram. What's your goal? What's your mission statement? Y'all smarter. What's your mission statement, sir? I just want to be black and die. You want to do that? That's all you want to do? All right. Also, he must constantly teach Torah to his wife and family and open up healthy lines of communication so the goal is constantly understood and any change of course is spoken and understood. Remember, if a person doesn't see themselves as a part of the whole establishment, they develop resentment. So as a man, it's your job to constantly teach Torah. And if you have a change of direction, you have to explain the change of direction to your wife and don't just pop up because she can't reflect you if she don't know what's going on. All right? 2-0? All right. So the next one I'm going to start, and this is their halakha. This is halakha. Listen, I read halakha. I study it. I'm very in depth in it. I bought all the books of the Mishneh Torah. And I love a lot of things they do, but some things I just don't understand. Let's go to the next slide. All right. Here it goes. It's talking about Nida and Zav and Zavah. Zav and Zavah, a woman in the Nida state and a woman after childbirth. All these four types are primary sources of impurity. They impart impurity to implement though touching them, impart impurity to other person by touching them or carrying them. They impart impurity to the objects of which they lie, sit, ride, or cause them also to consider as a primary source of impurity. Makes sense. And they impart impurity to the objects above them. Whether a woman is a minor zavah or a major zavah, whether her bleeding is natural or comes in the results of an outside cause, or whether a zav experienced 2 zav emissions or 3, her or his impurity is the same with regard to imparting impurity to others. In fact, a girl one day can contract nida impurity. A 10-day-old, she could contract ziva impurity. A female 3 years old can impart impurity to a man with who she has engaged in relations with. As well explained. So now, I posted this to everybody. Nobody's going to explain. No, brother, they're not saying that. What it's saying? What is it saying? What is it saying? Let's go to the explanation, right? All right. And okay, here goes explanation 13. In chapter 3, it is explained that a man who has sexual relationships with a woman in the nida state contracts her impurity and himself becomes a source of impurity. In halakha 6 of the chapter, it is explained that until a girl reaches the age of 3, sexual relations with her are not significant and he does not contract a severe form of impurity.
3 years old.
Now, be careful what you dive into if you don't know what you're jumping into. That's why it's imperative for us to write our own stuff. That's why it's imperative for us to write. And I'm not saying these wasn't black people, but these was black crazy people. They had something going on. But I want to say this. I'm not mad at anything Judaic, Mishneh at all. I'm mad at us. Because when you producing something great, ain't nobody looking elsewhere. It's just like you in a relationship. If you a good man or a good woman, the eyes ain't all over the place. You got to be able to contain that man. You got to be able to contain that woman. You got to be able to contain the people. The people were leaving because we became stagnant. And we got to accept that. We became stagnated. So we got something that's going to show you that our stuff, you read that stuff and you can tell our stuff is more in depth in understanding the language. We are not playing. And we're doing this with all the laws. We're sitting down, we're talking, calling Prince here. Let's go. What do you take for this? What do you take for that? Let's go to the next slide. All right, leave that there. All right. I want to go into my lesson. That wasn't my lesson. I was just showing you how to. We're going to make SH'MA great again. Oh, yeah. All right. And I may say names that you might not be familiar with, but it's all part of the lesson, or you may not know, or sometimes you don't like them or whatever. But I have to explain. As a child, growing up as a Hebrew Israelite, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life. And I had the ability to be away from the community as a young child. And when I came back and I seen all the long skirts and I seen the fringes and I seen all the work my father and my brothers and my cousin was putting in, I was just in awe. This was so beautiful. Like, I would come and young sisters at 14 and 13 were coming into this way of life. And Prince Natayo and Prince Yakayo were just bringing them in hordes. And Abba were bringing them in the hordes. And Chief Naphtali was, my cousin Chief Naphtali was bringing them in the hordes. So I developed a certain level of respect. My heroes became different. My heroes no longer were caped individuals or people that were fighting on TV. My superhumans became, and superheroes became my father. You understand what I'm saying? My brothers, right? People like Prince Shem and also the other Prince Shem. They used to have legends about him doing walking and doing push-ups on fingers. Like, you know, these things were legendary, right? But these were the superheroes that we were given as individuals. But some of the part of this superhuman ability that we give individuals, we forget that behind every single mask is a scar. Behind every single mask, there's some pain, there's some struggle, there's some flaws in individuals. But as our mind goes on, we have to realize that there's something beautiful in the veneration of our people. And we have to learn to exalt them. And just because you see things in them that you may not understand, it doesn't mean that their status isn't great, because part of their great struggle and part of their flaws is what makes them so powerful in who they are. And so ancestral veneration was something that the ancient people always did. And our brain has this proclivity to nostalgia. Like, we develop nostalgia about things in the past and we make it greater than what it was. Like, you may see things in your past that you remember, but you make it greater than it actually was. Yeah, you tell her, oh man, I remember when I was this, I was that, I had all the fun in the world. But in the same strength, you tell her how many times you got beat, how many times you didn't do this, how many times you didn't do that. But we develop this sense of nostalgia and this ancestral veneration. And we see this inside of the scriptures in Bereshit in the 6th chapter, where it says the Bene Elohim. Now, the Bene Elohim are humans. They are people. They are people just like you and me, but in ancient times, it was something that they put the Lord themselves. When they had great accomplishments, they had to deify these people and erect them to their highest levels. So they were called the Bene Elohim, but even these Bene Elohim, these people that were exonerated to and deified and magnified and immortalized in history, even had problems. Because right next to Bene Elohim, it starts to talk about their sexual deviances with the daughters of man. So in this world, we got to realize that there's a balance in everything. But we got to learn to love the flaws of an individual, to know the human aspect of who they are, so we can develop and become stronger individuals. Because if you glorify only all the good things, then you really don't know what is the underlying architecture or the emotional trauma that made this person who they are. The Torah highlights the flaws of our ancestors. What book does that? I read the book, I be like, dang. As Sarah was Abraham good. She probably said, eh. You got a good man. She probably in the background like, eh. You know, women, they tell you, but they'll tell you all the way, where's that? Hey, what's that? Somebody buzzing in? Somebody trying to get up here? Yeah. You change the subject real quick. Hallelujah! You just jump up and just stop her. So she get in, and he be like, man, you a good man. You an awesome man. She flop on the floor. Boom, boom, boom. What's wrong with this sister? Bro, you put a lot of work in that Hebrew community. You try to get my sister? Oh, no, I'm just saying, yes, he's a great man. Right? But the Torah gives us this. It puts them in a realistic depiction. It puts them in a realistic depiction, because you have to really understand what happened in these people's lives that made them who they were, because it's a part of who they begin to develop into. And don't never get so hurt and upset about what happened to you in the past, because your brain cannot function with changing things in the past. It knows it's not realistic. It's not realistic. It only rewards you for moral goals in the present and the future. So you have to keep on creating goals and establishing them so you can get past in life. But if you're stuck in the past, you can't move. So the brain creates this nostalgia, the hippocampus and the amygdala of the brain starts to make emotional memories in order for you to connect to them. But not to be stuck in the past, but in order for your past to be relevant in your present, so you can understand this architecture that supports who you are as an individual. And that's the thing. And it was strange for ancient times because our Bible tells us that we shouldn't have a king, right? But in other places, kings were venerated into deities. They had to say, I'm the son of God in order to be the king. And everything they said was coming from God in order for them to rule. But our book says you don't want that kind of person. That's too much power in somebody's hand. He's going to take your wives. He's going to hide your kids, hide your wives, yeah. You're like, what? Israelites like, I want that. Give me that. Yeah. That's what, because why? It's part of the human mind. It's a natural tendency to glorify things that's outside of itself. We even deify this world that surrounds us as individuals. We out there being a part of the world, knowing all the trauma it caused everybody out there. Knowing all the trauma. Looking these people's eyes in their faces as they're crossing the street. That's right. I've been away so long, I almost died when I came into the train station. Dude, all I know is birds and squirrels and snakes. I see young girls cursing. Ain't nobody can tell me nothing. You can't tell me, not even you. You can't even tell me nothing. Nobody gonna tell none of us nothing. That's right, girl. They ain't gonna tell us nothing. I'm like, ooh, girl. You done. You finished. You finished. That's domestic violence written all over it. Yeah, let me see how you look with a little shiner. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. But it's the reality of it, because there's nothing good in this world. You have to actually preserve something and pull it out of this world, because they have that venom in them. They have that sickness that's influencing their lifestyle, and they're addicted to the traumatization. They want to go out there. They want to be hurt. But that's what happens, because the truth of reality is that some people weren't trained to be disciplined. They wasn't trained to be righteous. So they have to go out in the world and bump their head, and the world has to put them right back in their place. And though the Bible wasn't written for this veneration, we still do this. We depict Sarah as this great matriarch, which she is. She's a beautiful person, but the Bible gives us her flaws so we can learn from it. We have to learn from everything. Now let's take it. This week's portion is Chayei Sarah. And I start out with this is because all my elders, all the people here, you hear stories about Captain Ephraim. You hear stories of warriors. Hear great stories. These people what should be held in high. But they got times when they have tears in their eyes. They got times when there's a strain, there's a struggle, there's a pain. They got time when they're making a bad decision, when they have flaws. And us as black people, we like to tear down our own people because of their flaws. And that's not what that book is teaching us. That's not what that book is teaching us. And so we look at the life of Sarah. We see the woman, her name is Princess. So I want y'all sisters and I want y'all brothers to put yourself in the mindset of these women, because this is what happened with our Israelite brothers and sisters all the time. They living high and mighty in the world. She the princess, she the diva, right? In America, they the divas or whatever. You bring them to this way of life. Come on, let's go follow God. Like, God, what is that? So I can follow, yeah, no, you got to change. You got to get out the pants. You got to do that. You got stuff. I got to do all that. So she believes in you, so she begins to follow you. But this God doesn't have a destination. He's telling him, just go. Let Lakai go. Hey, baby, I got an epiphany. We should just leave here. Where we going, baby? Yeah. We don't know. Let's just go. So, you know, women, she don't want to make her man look bad. So I'm going. Give me a second. Let me just give some more stuff. I'm going. Yeah. You know when your wife lied to you understand where I'm going with this, right? Yeah, baby. All of a sudden, she start acting out. Like, where is this coming from? Just learn to speak your mind. Tell Abraham you don't really want to go. And you can tell that God, Abraham doesn't understand God. Even in his journey, because even when he says he knows him as El Shaddai, that's just a form of God, but that is still based somewhat in Amorite theory, because Amorites believed in the El Shaddai, or the God of the mountains, which is many depictions or aspects of who our God is, because our God El and all of this is just speaking the language of the natives. So God has different points. He's a nurturing God. He's a God that's soothing. And then when he goes to Mamre amongst the Hittites, God comes to him, and every way we read it, it's still the same. God is in that, but that's just a vision, right? But it's three people. So because in their time, they was into trinities, they were into things. So sometimes God reveals himself. He even goes into your Christian churches and reveals himself to you because that's the only way you can perceive him now until he brings you into another level of gathering up and going to another stage. But God was always with you. He was always with you. So as you grow, as your perception grows wider, you start to understand who God is and the magnificence, and your whole journey is to figure out the greatness of God, but you would never figure out the complete greatness of God because it's far beyond your understanding as a human. So now, as a man, you start to grow and you start to develop, and what you were teaching before is nothing because you read the Torah last year, and it don't look the same as it does this year, does it? Because you're growing now. You're starting to grow. Your mind is growing. You're starting to mature. You're starting to become a man. You're starting to become a man. And Ezekiel, when you read in Ezekiel, this is when the stuff starts to make sense. It says, and your nativity is of the land of Canaan, and your father was an Amorite, and your mother was a Hittite. But that isn't like genetically true at all. It is not genetically true. But it's talking about our concepts of who God was started to evolve. It started out when the Amorites, the Sargon, started to conquer over there, Kasdim. And then we moved and we went into different places. And now these environments are starting to sketch our understanding of who God is. Even in this place now, we still have a Christianized idea of a concept of God because you're not doing as much as you can. You're waiting for somebody to save you no matter how much you say you aren't. And that's what we have to understand. My question is, when you leave this earth, what would a nation miss of you? What would the nation need? How would they fill a void of who you are? Think about that question. They're going to miss what? My jokes. Give me some real stuff. Give me somewhere a nation is hurt now that you're gone. Show me something that you do, because if you're not relevant, that makes you irrelevant. And I don't want no part of irrelevance. Not me. Not me. I want no part of irrelevance. My God took nothing and created into something, took chaos and made order. And that's how I'm going to follow it. We're going to take this chaos, everything that we have around us, and we're going to make order. We're going to champion the great life that we want. We have to consider these things. Now, years after God talks to her husband, she follows him and she's barren. Now, I don't know if you understand this or not, but when a woman is barren, she goes through a stage of depression. When a woman wants child, she wants child. And you may not understand it as a man. Baby, calm down. I want child now. What? Baby, calm down. You want a Snicker? No, I want child. Because her natural cycles and regulations determine that if she's going through her menstrual cycle, she feels that she failed something. She lost the life inside of her. So there's a natural stage of depression or a natural stage of stress that she has. And then when her womb begins to fertilize and get ready for reproduction and ovulation, she needs that support and security in order for you to take care of as a man. So her cycle is based on her connection with you. So you may not understand it, but in order to understand and govern a woman, you have to understand the woman. And you're not going to always understand the woman because they don't want you to understand you. They want you to understand her, but they don't want you to understand her. They let you in and then they trick you. Yeah. You don't know me. You thought you knew me. You think you know everything. You don't know nothing. You don't know me. You don't even know my name. I just changed it. Look at my ID. Yeah, they don't want you to know. Yeah. And guess what? I don't even live here no more. Bye. Like, dang, you got that bad? I thought we were good, baby. I thought we were doing well. Yeah. So don't get mad when you don't understand them, and don't tell them you understand them. Just study them in silence. Don't say no. Don't say I know you. Once you say the gig is up, the gig is up. Once you say you know who. You know who. Who you know. So if you know me, so you know what I mean? You be like, dang, baby. So just study them in silence. Just appreciate them. Write it down. Don't tell them. Write it down. Specimen A is acting irregular at 12 a.m. Something is wrong with her. She's not telling me nothing. Doors slamming loud. Pots clinking. eyes rolling. But Specimen says they are all good. Fold it up, put it back. Don't let her get that book, though. I'm a specimen? I'm Specimen, huh? Then the unthinkable happens. Abraham tells us some stuff that blows her mind. Guess what, man? They tough over there. What you mean they tough over there? Where God said you go? He tell you go there? They tough where we go. I'm with you, babe. What you want me to tell him? I'm telling you, my sister. Well, I am kind of your sister. I am your sister, half sister, but you want me to tell him, and what's going to happen after that? Trust us. Trust in the Lord. Trust in the Lord. Okay. So they take him, and she's away now. You think that she's not having some ideas and concepts about Abraham's the thought process? That's right. And she in Pharaoh's house like, oh, no, don't. I'm traumatized. No, oh, my Lord. Yeah, she holding herself down, right? But then she thinking that she get back out there like, boy, something wrong. But see, God moves in our lives because Abraham was put in the stead of God, and Sarah was the representation of Israel, because Israel will eventually, his sons and descendants will go into Pharaoh's house, go into the house. Pharaoh's house will be plagued. Then they will come out with riches. So now he's giving you prophecy, because sometimes your life are steps in order to see what your children are going to go through. So be careful of every path that you make, because you're going to put it inside the genetics of your children, and they're going to follow after these patterns. You have to be careful. Now, if that's not enough to make a person depressed, she trusts this woman, Hagar, and tells her, come on, sleep with my man. She said, yeah, it ain't going well. I've been barren. Just came out of this other man's house. I really don't feel like being bothered him. I don't think this is going to work. I don't see no miracles or nothing coming out of this. You sleep with him. You know. I got you. Huh? Because her name is Hagar, the stranger, the sojourner. See, some of you men got Hagars in your life. They only temporarily staying with you to get somewhere, or they want to lord you, or you try to bring them in as a second wife, but they only want to be the only wife, but they only temporarily stay because their attitude make them separate from the household. Ain't no woman going to come in your house and not honor the matriarch. She has to honor the matriarch. She has to come with gifts. She has to come with gifts and show love and honor and reverence. This is my first wife. And you better be subservient to her until you get on your feet, until you make it and you have your own identity, but you're going to make her feel like she needs you. But not Hagar. See, because there's a selfishness inside of the mind, and some people are so immature because, look, she left her family also. So she has a bitterness, and this woman was constantly telling her what to do, and maybe she didn't like it, and then these things started to happen. But how selfish is it when you love somebody and you bring them in your family to be a part, and they're so immature that they can't see how deep and valuable a family is? See, no woman is special if they don't value the family that they're coming in. See, because you can say all men's are dogs and all of this, but a woman that don't respect and love family is not what family is about. Right. It's trash. It's trash. Say, talk to my wives. I don't want to talk to them. Talk to my wife. I don't want to talk. I talk to her later. I tell her, get out of here. You a Destructicon. There's 4 more of y'all somewhere else. Oh, yeah. You got to understand, y'all about to form on y'all. She going to bring all her girls. You know what's going on here? They coming out the blue. Now, Sarah got in her bag, right? And she made an emotional decision. She was like, this child that you got, Ishmael. So Hagar, now that she got the baby, she moving a little extra now. Oh, excuse this, my baby. But that ain't how it's supposed to be. This is supposed to be for Sarah. This is Sarah's baby. This is Sarah's baby. No. Oh, you need to stop it. Everything you say is bare. You can't even conceive thoughts. Yeah, just take a punch it up. Huh? Yeah. And so she started poking at her, and Sarah put them hands on her. She did. You read that Hebrew. She put them hands on her. She assaulted her. She did. She was like, she said, boo, boo. Said, I got that baby. She said, I got these hands. Hey, God was like this. shocked, like, God. Woo. Whoa. I'm gonna answer God. It's so bad. It was so bad. The angel had to convince her. Like, hey, God, come back, baby girl. Hey, God. Hey, God. And that's another thing. When you see women run away and they always running from a relationship, they have the tendency to run from a relationship. Eventually, they're gonna probably just run from the relationship. When you see that thing, back off that. Back off that. That's God giving you insight. But you as a man, you're like, no, it's just she's just going through a lot. Isha, you have to be patient with her. You ain't patient with me. Yeah. See, because we have this way of always justifying bad decisions as men. We do. See, she ain't been through everything you've been through. I mean, you've been through something, but she didn't have a mama or dad. She didn't even have a city. She ain't no city. Where's she from? It's deep. I'll explain it to you later, baby. I'm like, damn, that girl messed up. And the funny, when she went her bag, because funny thing about the Hebrew word for bag is shock, when it's the root word of emotions and desires. So we still kicking that lingo from the days now, because that's that hip hop lingo. You know what I'm saying? That's in the book. You know what I mean? We got to realize that's that same people. You're like, ain't you in your bag? Yeah, you in your shop. Because that word, and we got into it earlier. But I want to go into something, because something happens the first time there's a divorce in the scripture. Now Hagar goes. But the problem with relationships is that we have to understand what they truly are, because the word av is like the structure of the house. Right. It means the structure. The man sets the rules, the regulations. And the word mother means im. And what im means is not mother, but I want to get into it because in Hebrew, you got to understand the denotative meanings versus the connotative meanings. The denotative meanings is what it literally means. The connotative meaning is the associated meanings later. So now the associated meaning for im is mother. It's not the literal meaning. So the problem with our culture is we detach from our culture because we don't understand the language. Right. That's right. Im means glue. Right. So now if you understand what a mother is, the mother is the glue that holds the family together. So now the mother in this same society, they don't want to be mothers no more. You notice that, right? Right. They did that. I've been a mother. What you mean you've been a mother? I devoted my life. I sacrificed. You always a mother. But we got to understand what's going on, brothers. There's a level of resentment inside of these women for creating these children. Because in society, the girls who don't have children always look like the women that are having fun. So the women sees this and they're like, oh, they having fun. So they drop their child off here. They drop the children off there. They don't want to be home no more. They don't want to be home no more. Yeah, they don't want to be the glue of the family. Huh? They want to be in the world. So the world looking a certain way, because guess what? Sometimes you got with a man that didn't have that structure. But you thought you was going to help him and aid him make a structure, but allow that man to make a structure. Stop sleeping with these men who haven't developed mentally. Stop sleeping with these men who haven't developed financially and spiritually. You have to let a man grow up and stop trying to raise these young men. Stop trying to raise them. You got to know that I like what he got already, and I'm coming in there to hold it together. Right. Look, not I like what he can do. If he get the right potential on the left side, and if he add it with the middle, it's going to be all right. No. Everybody name somebody in here that ain't born with potential. Huh? Name somebody. Girl, he can't read, but he read my mind. He started all type of stuff to make you feel, yeah, he's all in my heart. I just get, no. You're in your animalistic instincts right now. Your body's telling you to mate. So you acting like an animal and just mating with anything, and you know that because relationships is like a genetic lab. What you're doing is putting genes together. Do you realize this, right? So you're supposed to say, I like them jeans right there. And I'm not talking about the pants, because that's what y'all like. How much them pants? 500. Oh, I gotta have them, girl. I gotta have them. No, you gotta be into his jeans. I know some of y'all married into my family. Y'all be like, Dang, I didn't know them genes was strong and crazy like that. But you got to know it's genes. You're taking our genes and you're taking your genes, the good and bad, and you're mixing it up and making a baby. Now, you got to think the odds are that this is going to make some good babies. Look at that. Like, they're quiet back there. They quiet. I see sister climbing out the back window. Like, I've seen this. I've seen this before. And you know, the ladies, you got resentment at the children because you don't like their genes. Well, you should have thought about that. You should have thought about that. No, you just like your daddy. What was they gonna be like? Yeah, because he would fly in the 80s and the 90s. Don't make him fly in 2018. Sure. Yeah. My wife didn't know I was gonna be up here with a skirt on. Yeah, she didn't know that. I'm different. I changed. You go through stages of change. Let man grow through their stages. Let them get some stages out the way before you get with them. Let them. All right. So now the next stage in Sarah's life is she begins the angels come and they says, "Where's Sarah?" And Sarah being a little nosy, you know, because she made some good stuff. She was in there cooking it up. She want to know what they talking about. So she's by the tent like this. And the angel said, "You're going to have a child." And she said, in a little disbelief, because this is what happens sometimes when you go through so much traumatization, you teetering in between believing in God and not believing in God. And that combination creates stagnation. Right. Most of you here because you don't understand God. You believe in him, but you don't believe in him, but you don't want to leave the family. Right. And so all she can create genetically is a child that is kind of stagnant. So now this is belief. And like Cain was brought so low. He just thought the world was so wrong that God said, do better, you get better. It was a simple understanding. Knowing that don't be a victim in your own life. Take control of your life. Don't tell me about what happened to you. Tell me about what you did to yourself. Tell me what you did to yourself. He did this. How you let him do that then? That's what I want to know. Yeah. If you got to tell somebody, please don't hurt me, chances are they're going to hurt you. Just do me one favor. Don't hurt me. The guy thinking in his mind, so I could push her to the limits. She used to this. Yeah, exactly. That's how men think. Exactly. And then, no. The other man did it, but you didn't do that to him. Men think they fishers and hunters. You got to be clever. Stop putting your business out there. Right. Oh, please, God, say a prayer for me. Help me out. I need help. I need love. You can't, because all you're doing is open up the door for wolves. Wolves to tear apart everything. So now she creates this level of consciousness that creates Isaac. And Isaac to me is like, he symbolizes the state of arrested development. Because if you look at Isaac only has like 2.5 chapters in his book. I mean, his life is not that fascinating. Like, and that's our forefather, but he doesn't really does much. He's really base. He blesses the wrong son. He likes the wrong son. You know, he's playing with his wife on the rooftop in front of. He's just happy. His name is laughter, right? People that just think life. And that's so. Here's my gripe. I have a problem with the pursuit of happiness, because in the pursuit of happiness, who defines the happiness? And most people are happy only inside their comfort zones. So most people who's pursuing happiness will not do anything that'll change what they're in. They'd rather be there stagnant. So that yiskak, that laughter, is that pursuit of happiness, that stage of arrested development. The greatest feat Isaac did was dig up the wells his father dug up. So that means in the stage of arrested development, all we do in SH'MA YISRAEL is recreate the same thing over and over again. And today is a new day. We're going to change things, and this is because we're evolving. Right. We see that, hey, this is not working the way it is, so we will change it from what it is. So Isaac, right, and I want everybody to listen to this. Isaac was almost sacrificed. Gosh. Trauma. Can anybody spell trauma? Do you see trauma in this? Anybody see trauma coming? He says, Abba. No, the woods is itching on it. Yeah, I'm laying down on this thing right here. Do you know where the goat is? Yeah. But what does this represent? It represents the natural proclivity of religious pioneers to sacrifice their children for the movement. And it causes a sense of traumatization to the children because sometimes they're so involved in the community that there's a neglect, and not an intentional neglect, but something happens where the children don't receive this. So this symbolizes this and represents that. So Isaac was naturally responding in a way because look at all the great ones. MLK, sons aren't that great. Malcolm X, sons aren't that great. Now Magic Johnson's son is great. He's not that great. It's an embarrassment. Michael Jordan's son, all the great ones, because it's their investment, is what they're putting into the community, that sometimes that binding of Isaac is placed on the next generation where it stabilizes them and stagnates them, and they cannot create in the way that they need to create. And you notice Isaac don't really go nowhere. And I wanted to bring that back up because why did Abraham tell Sarah that to lie or to trick people? Right. It's because when you don't travel, you create stereotypes about other places that are incorrect. So they felt that these people had no God in them, but Pharaoh had God in them. So now you got to travel. Because if I tell you Chinese people, what's the first thing come to your mind? Eating dogs, right? First thing come to your mind. That's a stereotype. That's wrong. All Chinese, they barely even eat meat. Right. If I tell you Haiti, what's the first thing you think? You see the stereotypes? You see that? It's because the society controls us like this. They make us have these stereotypes. So Abraham with the stereotype that there's no God in no other land. They don't believe in God, so I'm just going to lie to them as if they, right? And in the binding of Isaac, Sarah loses her life. Now, Sarah is exonerated in Proverbs 31. That's about Sarah. Her greatness is the exoneration of Sarah and making her a beautiful mother. But today we really understood that there was more to Sarah. There was a struggle with Sarah. And there was a struggle. And I say this in truth. I'm mad at y'all. I'm mad at myself too. And I'm mad at y'all because y'all don't take people's life and consider it. We have people in here that we all lost loved ones in the past 3 weeks. Right. And you have not stopped and considered that the babble and the argument in your house is pointless and frivolous. Right. Because you're so caught in your life that you didn't give honor to the people who had suffering and things that went on in their life. Do you know what it is not to go home to the smell of somebody? Right. Do you know what it is not to go home to the touch of somebody? Do you know what it is not to go home to the voice of something that you love so much? Somebody that struggled through their life and they came up and suffered, but they gave their all to everybody. Do you know? But we too much as people always focus on people's struggle and what's wrong with them instead of glorifying them for maintaining themselves in the struggle. And our mother Sarah maintained himself in the struggle. And I look at my father. You don't know what that man been through. But he maintained himself in the struggle. We just talked about Isaac and all the religious leaders, and we're going to go into a little more detail right now. All right, let's go to the portion. And we're gonna scan through it. We're gonna touch on certain things. We're gonna get out, and I'm gonna step down. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So Sarah was 120 years old. That's a good life, right? That was the beauty of our mother. And then our father Abraham, and I'm gonna skip through. I'm gonna just comment on a lot of that. Our father Abraham. He cries. It says he weeps for her, but then in the Hebrew it has a small kaf, meaning that he didn't completely submit to the crying. You know, he didn't act all out. He didn't act crazy, but he gave a little whelp and he gave a little tears for his wife, who he loved, who moved on. But he always carried a place in our heart Because sometimes we realize that we don't understand certain brain functions, but he purchased a place called the Cave of Machpelah. And if we go into science, the Machpelah deals with the double-fold sylvan fissure in the brain, which remembers dead people or remembers the memory and all the fragrances, the smells and things that trigger inside of them. When people have epileptic fits, they go in there and that sylvan fissure starts to summon or call up memories of other people where they start to see these people. So he places her deep in his mind. He buries her in his mind, and he has her because the beauty of her life doesn't stop him. It makes him understand that the movement still goes on. It makes him still go on. So we have to realize it, that there is a powerful God. And see, these are not simple lessons. They're not. Right. These are life lessons that you can grab and apply to your life. I know that you're not reading and walking this book because you're not applying these things to your life, and everything is getting out of control. And even it's getting the best of us. This world is something strong, and you can't shake it off. So we have to go to ourselves. Imagine a community where everybody in here is here. Everybody here. And it's not impossible. It can happen immediately. Right. But we have fear. I don't know. What if it's like such and such? What if it's like, well, you change whatever's wrong with it. Right. We're not going to go make perfection. That's not what we're going. We're going to try to make perfection without his hands up our back, without their poison in our throat, without their food killing us. Don't tell me you love your children and you're giving them the same bottle of water that has chlorine in it, and you wash it down and you're killing off their blood cells. And baby, I love you. Baby, you don't know love. Yeah. Teach him. But he goes and he asks these people for a place, and they say, well, for you, it's free. Because it's incumbent upon a place to create a place of dependency for their people that is in the midst. They sojourners. And America has mastered that, because when you create a sense of dependency, you become the Lord over it, the borrower servant to the lender. That's what the books say. Abraham says, no, I'll pay you, because if you pay something, then there's nothing that they can say to you about it. There's nothing they can say to you. Yeah. What happens when you tell a child, you give a child everything that they want? Shut up, be quiet. Here you go. Here you go. You create an unrealistic expectation for them, especially a male child, because when that male child go out in that world and think that everything's supposed to be his and he don't have to pay for nothing, then he's going to get stubborn and mad when he don't get his way. And then you're going to be like, oh my gosh, who are you? Because women, you are creating the same man that you hated. By not putting that foot down and not making sure that you don't get everything you want. And I'm going to show you how this world works, because if you don't show them how the world works, the world is going to kick them out and it's going to destroy them and send them back to you and show you, I got them. I'll fix them for you. Your son ain't disciplined. I'm going to incarcerate him, and now he's going to know discipline. He's going to wake up early, fold his clothes. He's going to be like, up 5 o'clock in the morning. Like, what's up with you? Ain't nothing. What you doing? Yeah, you're working out. What's that? 2010, 2000. Like, dang, boy. You couldn't even get up when you came out of here. So it gave him a corrupted form of discipline. And that's what happens sometimes when you're in a house where you can't fully develop. Abraham had to leave his father's house to go out in the world, the unknown, because God is in the unknown. He's in what you fear. On the obstacle, the other side of fear, there's trials, there's tribulations, but there's greatness. And they try to create fears to create boundaries for you. Then all of a sudden, Abraham goes and he leaves and he gets blessed by God. And then Jacob gets kicked out of the house. He got to run somewhere and goes through all of this suffering and then elevates himself. God changed his name because you are only worth your struggle. That's your only value. But you can't pity yourself. I've been through so much. Everybody got a story to tell. If you sit down and listen to everybody's story, you probably be crying right now. You're crying right now. It's the same as yours, but it flipped over the other way. Yeah. It's yours. It's yours. It's your struggle. Telling people, yo, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've been through. Let's leave it at that and let's start moving forward. Right. We all ain't know what we've been through. So now Jacob has a child and he does some crazy stuff with him and put a favoritism in him. And now you got Joseph who has to get out the house in order to grow. Because they would have suffocated his growth. So that's why it's important. If you don't want to lose your children, you teach them in the house. You raise them up and show them how the world goes and how it works and show them, hey, this doesn't work. Even if they do chores, hey, give them something at the end of it. And then stuff like, don't give them just snacks in their lunchbox. They have to earn the snacks in their lunchbox. Yeah, you got, what you got in there? Peanut butter jelly. Yeah. And some water. What you want? I want snacks, SH'MA. Okay, how many points you got for the week? How much work did you do? Okay, you can afford this and that, purchase it, give me. But I don't want. No, snacks cost. Peanut butter and jelly have the essentials you need. Yeah, and wash it down with a nice water. Yeah, I want a Swiss roll and a honey bun. It costs. That's extra excitement and brain stimulation. You have to pay for extra brain stimulation. And so he realized that you have to be semi-independent inside of a system that's creating this dependency. I want to go to the book of Nehemiah real quick. The 5th chapter. Because the system is corrupted, but you don't even know that the Bible is telling you that the system you're corrupted because you're not reading it. We cut time.
You said 5th chapter?
Okay.
From the top.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We're in the book of Nehemiah, chapter 5, verse 1. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Then there arose a great cry of the people and of their wives against their brethren, the Hebrews. For there were that said, we, our sons and our daughters, are many. Let us get for them corn, that we may eat and live. Some also there were that said, we are mortgaging our fields and our vineyards and our houses. Let us get corn because of the dirt.
So they telling Nehemiah all sorts of things. So they coming back to Nehemiah. Hey, Nehemiah, the Israelites in the land, we've been starving, so we mortgaged our fields, our lands, and our houses. Go ahead.
There were also that said, we have borrowed money for our king's tribute upon our fields and our vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, so our children as their children.
So they're taking out loans with interest, and they gave them their children. They gave them the rights to their children. So Nehemiah goes and he scolds them. He said, this is not the ways of the Creator. Why are you mortgaging houses? The word mortgage means death grip. Because they're locking you into a house until you die. That's all it is. But no other society has these no other real society, Eastern concept, had these concepts. So now when you're mortgaging, the interest rate is so high on it that you're actually paying almost 3 times for this house. That means you don't need that kind of house. You need to work your way. Then it says they turned over their children and they gave their children as a loan. When you put that child in that birth certificate, you gave your child as a loan. A child is not on the birth certificate. The cops cannot come in there and take your child. If they're on the birth certificate, they can come get your child because that's their child. You signed over. You signed your soul over to the place. That's why they gave you the soul stamp of the baby. They take the ink, put the soul on it. Yeah. And what do? The first thing they prick is the soul. But the Almighty says to the seed of the serpent, the seed of the deceptor, that you will bite the heel. The first thing they do to your children is prick the heel because they move the same way. And their whole logo system is a serpentine empire, and they're related and connected to the aspects that's going to destroy us as a people. So the Bible's so relevant today that when you're serious about it, your wife might not like you for a long time, but she's going to understand when you get through it. And this is the way it got to be. We got to be serious that everything ain't joyful play, this and that, party, all of this. We vacate for everything. Where you go on vacation for? What did you accomplish? It's just that time. Set goals. And then when you reach them goals, then go to these places. And then that's where the excitement comes. That's where the family comes, competitive nature. Everybody start pushing each other. Say, honey, I want you to do this. Oh, honey, I want you to do that. Okay, I give you this if you give me that. I give you this if you give me that. Make a bargain. Bring the family back. Inspire each other. Stop just living. That's right. Just living the croak. Your children see that. They don't want none of that. That's right. Mama said. Abba said. They both said. We said too. Hey, you don't want that. And then the sad baby, I'm sad. I want happiness. Hey, anybody love me? No. Then they meet the other sad baby and they make sadder babies. What's your name? That's depression. What's your name? Stigma. Yeah. Yeah. So he goes there, and then immediately Abraham goes back, and then he starts to go look for something for his son. But in reality, we got to realize that God is so powerful, and I want to share this, that the family structure was different. Do you notice that when Jacob tricked Esau, his mother went to her tent and got his clothes? So in the traditional Hebrew family structure, you got to understand the culture of our family. We're going to get into that. The mother still played an intricate part in her son's life because she was setting the tone for you. You wife, you want to be there? My Ema got me this. He be like, you a mama's boy. Mm-hmm. Mama made me a garment. What you made me, boo? I made you these beautiful kids. We made them together. Let's stop that. You push. You got the harder part. Women act like they. I know it's hard, women. I'm not taking that from. But that's not like a great accomplishment. Like you can't just throw that in the face. It's natural. It's a part of life. But you got to have other accomplishments outside of that. You really have to. Everybody, like everything you try to tell you, say, baby, you need to lose a little weight. I had 10 of your kids. Yeah. Okay, well, we gonna leave it there? I don't want no more. Deal. We gotta work together, right? Oh, don't act like y'all don't be wanting y'all husband be going to that gym. Prince Nat, he had the plastic bag on the other day. Yeah. I know what he was trying. Women ain't got to say nothing. You just look down. He talking to you. You looking at his stomach like. I understand. Brother, go out there like. Hey, Brother Ronnie, we do this for you, ladies. We know y'all like abs and flexy muscles and stuff like that. We working hard for y'all. Yeah. Don't be scared to say what you want. For real, don't be scared to say you want. Hey, baby, I'm turned off by you. I don't like the little goat stains on your tank top. I'm really not feeling it. It's time for you to transform. Be real, right? Or you wake up and you're just undesired. Like, I don't even want to be bothered. Like, baby, come here. I don't want to cuddle. It's just so cold. That's why we should cuddle. No, it's too cold. Your body's cold. You start making up stuff. Don't make sense. You start making up stuff. You want to eat with me? No, I'm not. I already ate. Ate yesterday. Yeah. Like, dang, is something wrong? And then but you as a man, you know what's wrong when you come out that shower. You get that look. Then you suck it in, like look like. You suck it in and make it like how would it look if it was to look right? You know what I mean? Yeah, you gotta be real with one another. We gotta know what these families looking like. All right. So, and I want to go back with Isaac, right? With Isaac, you start to see that there is no substantial amount of growth, and this happens. You start to see it with King David's sons. They have some kind of grudge against their father, and it's obvious with their behavior. But this is the natural way in the book. The sons, the Eli's sons, and all these children, they usually rebel. Job's sons, it's because they're sometimes not conditioned or given a right amount of attention and neglected in areas. So we have to realize that. So it's typical amongst a father to come back and overprotect when they know that they have kind of destroyed them in a little way, and the destruction and traumatization is inevitable. I want you to understand that you only grow through trauma. So you had to receive certain trauma. It wasn't something that people did on purpose. It was just the culture of society and things that they had to do in order for us to develop and grow on a spiritual level. So we start to see that, and we see it with the sons of David. And you got to ask yourself, why was David so short on not correcting his sons or going out the way? And there's two things. Well, David, his name is Dawid, means beloved, but that love is the connection between hallelujah. Shalom, Prince. So that connection was a love connection. It was something between another person. That word Dawid is a doorway and another doorway that fastens each other. So that person has developed a level of empathy, and we gotta reveal that. Hallelujah. So that person developed a level of empathy. So David was a hyper empath. He's seen so much inside of his children that was inside of him, and it was hard for him to correct them. Because sometimes you feel sad because you put them through certain things, right? And then you got to realize that there's another side to this. Sometimes the parents, when they're building and they're bringing their children back under the roof or trying to do certain things, they're scared to touch certain things because it would destroy their family. So things become real sensitive. The book is real inclined in nature when it gives the designs and stuff that's supposed to happen. So now the Most High sends or he sends a special man in Abraham's life, and he calls him Eleazar Damascus. Now, Eleazar Damascus is a powerful dude. He's one of the most overlooked people in the Bible. This is a hero to me. And he is the epitome of our culture. He epitomizes our culture, Ken. He epitomizes who we are as individuals. Because God said, Eleazar Damascus, and it's through Abraham, he said that he is in charge of all that's in my house. Now, Isaac was there, wasn't he? Yep, Isaac was almost 40 years old. But Eleazar Damascus, he had a certain level of demeanor about him that God said, you in charge because you missed to get it done. I know my son over there, jokey joke. Yeah, jokey joke. Okay, Isaac, you just stay here. He didn't even send Isaac to go get, he's 40 years old, go get your own wife. Go back over there, get your wife. He said, no, you stay here. You're going to giggle yourself into 21 years of slavery. Yeah. You're going to giggle yourself. I ain't going to be able to find you, son. Eleazar. King. Go get this boy. Isaac, go in the room. Yeah, parents know their children, right? You know what I'm saying? They know their children. Eleazar, come here. You know I love you, right? This is what God told me. He told me Isaac is the heir. I don't know what's going on, but you rule the stuff in the house. You go get this man a wife. That's right. And you get this man a wife. But the culture is, I want you, the daimyo, right, is a part of Bushido. It's the Japanese culture, right? And I want to break something down for you because I want you to understand what our culture is, because the word Quidem, which means east, means ancient. So if you're looking for ancient practices, you got to go to the east, my brother. Let's go. All right. So the first duty of Sumeria as a samurai was loyalty to his lord. Japan had a feudal system in which the lord expected obedience from his vassals, people under him, who in turn received economic and military protection from the lord. If a lord couldn't count on absolute loyalty from his vassals, the entire system would have collapsed. And Bushido, it was an absolute honor for you to serve your teacher and master. Not like today. I'm a man, ain't nobody telling me nothing. You let him tell you that. You tell him that. You need to leave. No. It was an honor for us to give glory to our fathers, our masters. It was something that was different. We felt good when we bowed before him. Yes, sir. We got you, sir. We're going to get that done. We're going to get that done. But are you the raven or are you the dove? That's the question. When you're given an order by your master, did you fulfill the order and come back? Or did you just disappear? The master got to call you. Where you at? You don't bring your raven behind back. The sense of loyalty and honor was often carried to extremes by the Japanese, who would fight to the death and hopeless battles to protect their master's castle or commit suicide if they felt they had disgraced their lord. So it was bad. If he sent you on something and you felt that you didn't even do it right, you was ready to kill yourself, ready to fall on your own sword. Shame. That was shame. This is our culture. Let's bring back our culture. And that's how you felt. You carried out the commands that you were given. And it doesn't make you a weaker man. It makes you a powerful man. And his name was Eleazar. It means God was his help. God was his strength. God was the sense of his culture. Everything he felt, he embodied it. Don't tell me about culture that you think about. Tell me about the culture you see in the book. Live it, immortalize it. It's nothing better than to be a servant for a master. And as a master, present yourself honorable and respectful on a level where people could be obedient to you. Samurais also had a duty of vengeance. Should the honor of his master be tarnished, or his master killed, the samurai was required and seek out and kill them responsible. So if the honor of the leader was disgraced, tarnished, what happened? We out. We moving. We ready to move. We ready to put honor back into our place. We ready to put honor and structure. So those who are over you and given positions by God, this is an honorable position. Don't respect it. Don't disrespect it. And woman, respect your man because he's trying to convey a message to God. It may not be that clear at times. But don't rebel against him, because sometimes you're rebelling against him is rebelling against God. It is. It make you look bad. If you need help, we got rules. Go to leadership. Go to the elders. Go to things where they decide, make decisions for you. Court cases, whatever you have to do, we have to establish that get you judges. Because we have to preserve. See, in the book, judges are called what? Elohim. Because these men were venerated to a status to uphold justice and equality on this earth. And that's something that we have to understand as our people go on. So that daimo, let's go to Numbers 3:14. And so when I get older, I start to breathe the culture. I start to live the culture. I start to feel the culture. I start to understand the culture a little bit better. I love it a little more. Go ahead. 1 and 4.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We're in the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, chapter 3, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Now these are the generations of Aharon and Moshe in the day that Yah spoke with Moshe in Mount Sinai. And these are the names of the sons of Aharon: Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. These are the names of the sons of Aharon, the priests that were anointed, whom he consecrated to minister in the priest's office. And Nadab and Abihu died.
All right, hold up. It said these are the generations of Aaron and Moses. Because your teacher was your father. And Moses stood in the place of the father. He was equal with Aaron on that level because he was the master. He was the teacher. There was a certain level of honor that you have for somebody that brings you into this way of life. There's a certain level of honor that you have for somebody who teaches you. See, we on a different level. We Hebrew Israelites. You want to talk culture? Let's talk culture. Let's talk how honorable it was. Because Moses was not the generation. Those wasn't the generations, the genealogy, or the seed, the descendants of him. Let's go to Exodus 22:28.
We're in the book of Exodus, or Shemot, chapter 22, verse 28. Let us all say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thou shalt not delay to offer of the fullness of thy harvest and of the outflow of thy presses. The firstborn of thy sons shalt thou give unto me. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen and with thy sheep 7 days.
All right, hold on. Let me go. I'll go straight to the verse. I'm going to pull up. And thou shalt not sleep, God, and do not revile the Elohim or the Nasakim of your people. Right? So now we have a certain tact in the side of us that we got to revere, that if there's people that's higher ranked than us, and these Elohim are our judges, so they call God because they did to bring balance, and we did have a certain veneration that we talking to them with the respect as if they're representing God. So that's a different level once you understand this thing, and once you completely embody it, you know that there's not that side talking, that hatred, or that stirring up against somebody who put in work for the true and living God. Because they sacrificed their own children, they bind their Isaac in order to make this happen. And you got to realize it. And you got to be a witness and a walking testimony to realize that God is a powerful thing. And when people give their life, sometimes there's so many people that suffer around them because they don't get the attention, because the devotion is for the movement. So don't ever revile the Elohim or the judges and the Nasakim. And
Good lesson, bro.
hallelujah. And we're talking about marrying now. So now he sends them back into his family, and he says to marry the cousins because this was kind of traditional of nomadic families. And I'll go into a little bit because we're about to get into Esau, but the marrying of the family was basically to prevent the Rh negative gene from getting into the family, because sometimes Rh negative or positive produces abortions and miscarriages and things like that nature. So I would line up the Rh negative coming from the lineage of the descendants of Cain actually influencing with the Rh positive, because these two are different species. So if a Rh negative woman has a child by a Rh positive man, that baby tends to be killed inside of the womb. Unless they were the same species, this type of thing wouldn't happen. So now if you married into cousins, you're saving your bloodline and preservation. Now, you know, in the book it only talks about genealogy. Now, if you're Rh positive and negative, this is not what the moral of the story is. It's to tell you that there is genes inside of us that are foreign. And we have to do third generation. Why third generation? Because third generation are purified. If you have half and half, and then you marry, then you have possibly less than that, and then next time, the third time going around, you almost got that blood out your system. So this is why the Moabites and them cannot come, the Edomites cannot come into our lineage into the third generation, because we're cleansing the blood. And this is why everything Dom is mentioned, blood is mentioned just as much as the Most High's name in the Bible, because that's how imperative it is. So women, when you think somebody's cute, study their lineage, study their bloodline, study their genetic code and their makeup. Make sure everything is right. Make sure the success and the survival of your children is there, and the preservation of the nation lies in the hand of your children. And that's what you have to think about. This just ain't regular relation. He's cute, you cute. No, we don't do that. We want to know, are you going to preserve the cultural lineage of Yisrael? Is this child and that child going to make a warrior of God? Is it going to make a teacher? Is it going to make a judge? Is it going to make a ruler? So you got to think different. The book is different. It talk different. It walk different. It make you think different. It's a whole different understanding. It's a spiritual elevation. I read that book, I'm saying I'm going to outsmart everybody when I'm done. That's what it says to me. That's what it says to me. I'm about to beguile the world. I'm about to supplant this nation. I'm about to get out of here. I'm about to grab their heel. Huh? No longer they gonna bite out here. I'm gonna grab their heel and get out of here. And that heel grabbing symbolizes us utilizing a little bit of their dependency to make it out of here, because we are not going to be completely separated. We're going to need a little bit. But once we take our own and take flight, we're unstoppable. I came in praise today. I came to praise and worship. I came in and I haven't felt praise like that in a long time. I'm not getting that in their synagogue. I'm not getting that with their mundane spirit. They can't give it to me. My soul is in this. My power is in this. My God is going to get it. My God is going to get it. SH'MA, y'all producing albums. Y'all producing music. Y'all really, it says sing a new song for the Lord. Y'all doing the Lord. And everybody in it that's producing, all those that are doing things to break away from the social norm of the oppressor are leaders. They're superheroes and they're champions. All right. So he goes, Eleazar Damascus, he goes and he takes a vow and he puts it under the thigh, under the loins, under the crotch. We don't care. It's not homo. It's not. We cultural. See, we didn't like sleeping with each other. When we made vows, we said, I'm putting it on your seed and your next lineage that I'm going to make sure they survive. That wasn't us. That wasn't that to us. You put that hand on that thigh? Yes, sir. Swear by me. My loins, my genes are going to be protected by your movement. Yes, sir. Yes, honorable king. Yes, Master Abraham. I'll make sure that the preservation of your children is there. And that's our vow to each other. We got to make sure that we're doing everything to preserve our own children. Your pettiness with one another is going to destroy the children. I don't like her. Why you don't like her? Oh, she said something wrong. She said something. What did she say? She said something. Well, what was that something? I don't know, something like, what does that mean? Maybe she was transforming, trying to change her life. You're trying to stop her. So he goes and I want to show y'all something. He goes and brings 10 camels. And I want to go into the 10. The 10 symbolizes, it symbolizes productivity, right? It symbolizes rising above of failure and stress. It symbolizes moving forward. But the camel is the word higmal, or the gimal means camel, but the word higmal means to wean. So if something can't support itself, you carry it. So this is the symbolism of a woman, that she's going to nurture her husband and allow him to make it over his hard times and that desert land and that dry and thirsty land that the man works for. And when he's out in that world and all the trials and tribulations, you're going to provide for him. You're going to allow him to be comfort. You're going to have your challenges, but don't make challenges on top of challenges. When he's done with that challenge, you done with that challenge, baby? Did I help you out? Yeah, baby, you got me over that hump. Now let me talk to you. Yeah, let's have a meeting. You good, baby? I'm absolutely fine. Let's have a meeting. Don't see him beat up coming through the door. You. What? I just asking a question. You know, y'all act innocent when y'all killing the man. But I'm going to show y'all this. But we get into it. So you bring in the 10 camels, right? And then there's Rebecca, right? And I want to get back into, we talked about the Teshuvah, right? Is that adaptability, is that flow of the river. And notice everything with a woman, even when Sarah said her desire, should she have desire in her old age, her joy, it used the word bilal, which means the flow of her streams. See, her streams flew out, her desire was gone, and she wasn't really there because she had no reason to reproduce. She failed for a long time. So the mind begins to have the propensity to shut things down when it doesn't go a certain way. So sometimes when we haven't had love, we tend to block out love, and things that look like love, we fight it off because we don't know how uncomfortable these things make us feel. So we have been hurt so long that hurt is okay for us. It's a good feeling now. We made it. We made the struggle good now. It feels good to hurt. Yeah. So we made it. I pursue the struggle. Yeah. Sounds about right? So we put that in our lives, and we allow ourselves to adapt to certain things that really isn't natural for our patterns. And we see that Rebecca means ensnaring. It means ensnaring. See, the book tell you what the woman do. That's right. Huh? It means to block something or stop something to clog it up. That sister walking down that street fine. What happened to that traffic? Like, boom, boom, whoa. Yeah. That sister, you walk by, you better, whoa. Holy Rivka. You see a sister, and she at the well waiting for the water. This is a good. She about to bathe. She about to bathe her family. She's traditional. She ain't there with a bucket like this. Pissed that she got to get the water. She did. And he said she got to do this. She got to give you water and your camels water. Yeah. She had to carry that. That means you need a woman that's going to go above and beyond. You go in that man's house and that daughter don't come to the front and ask, Shalom, Madonna, do you need anything? He got to call her. Hey, Shabbat, come out the back. Yes, Abba. Say shalom to a dumb. Shalom, Madonna. The book says that's low tone. I like her attitude. I like it spicy. Hey, brother, I said it's stupid. I like it spicy. Yeah, he said stupid stuff. Until she got you in a camel clutch. So also, what about this camel, right? It shows that she cares about the direction you're going in. Huh? So she's not only giving you water for the present, she want to know about your direction. I'm going to make sure you get to where you're going. I'm a symbol. I'm going to make sure you get to where you're going. Need some more water? Hey, y'all got to carry that bucket. You got to bring that bucket. I know how to do it. Yeah, that's a new bucket dance. That's her sister got to break like. Shalom. Yeah, that's what y'all do, dances that make sense. Oh, like the bucket pouring up dance. Yeah, feed the camel. I like that. What's that? That's the door that you want to feed the camel? Tell her come in. Tell her not see how SH'MA wants to see her. That's all right. That's culture, right? I like that. You summoning me a dome? Came. And it said she was a virgin and no man knew her. That's extra. Not you a virgin. And you got the Monica Lewinsky outfit at the home that you got to take to the cleaners. Right. That's real talk. Just being real. Yep. Bring that out. We know how sisters do. Yeah, we know what you do. Everything else is off. Don't make sure keep the hymen intact. Yeah, everything else. Don't say nothing. Put your phone on mute. Put it in vibrate. Is it recording? I'm not playing with you, Joshua. Bob's going to be mad. No, be a real woman. When they leave you or they court you, then they leave you with some kind of pride and dignity. You still got something about yourself. You're not emotionally traumatized. So she was a good woman, you know. And so Laban, I want you to go into Laban because Laban is like transparent. Yeah, you can see through him. And also he got the mindset, Laban, of a white man. He a little shady. He see you making it. He like you. He gonna bring you in. See, he is plotting so hard that he got your children, the next generation. That's how hard he was plotting. So what you got? Oh, you got some gold. You got some jewelry. You got some this. Yeah. Yeah, so we go to verse 58. We see that they asked Rebecca, did she want to go? And she said yes. So with that whole, I'm going to send you to marry him and you don't have no say, so that's not our culture.
Right. Teach.
That's not our culture. Your daughter got to like them. You say, you like him?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you like
Yeah, she like you. Don't even say yes. Just say, my daughter likes you. And she walks off. Take your behind out of here. No more to say. We'll set it up. We set it up. All right. So the camels, we don't get it, right? We don't. What's all of this? Everybody talking about, you reading the scriptures, that's a wedding. It's a procession. It's an ancient nomadic wedding that they're doing. 10 camels symbolizes part of the ceremony that they did in ancient customs. So you got to realize, so here we go in ancient Bedouin weddings, right? The first thing you have is what you call an al-kuta, which is the proposal. We've seen that, right? He asks for her. And then in it, he's offered food and drink, but he doesn't eat the food until he gets a what? The business done until they say yes. So the guy that came for the daughter does not partake in that food. That's cultural. That's part of the culture. He does not partake into that food until he gets a yes. He came there for a job. The family came there for a job. The father, whoever he brings, his sons, and they go there and they sit down in there and they're like, yes, we want your daughter. And he's like, okay, here goes some food. He's like, King, back to business. We seen your daughter, and she bugger dance, and we think that we can use her in our family. Is that a yes or no? Well, we got to draw up a contract. What's the contract going to look like? He says yes. Slide that tray over. You eat, you start to drink. Then the next step is what you call the al-aqad, right? It's the negotiation terms of the dowry. The dowry buys the dresses, the jewelries, and camels are given. All right? So this is part of the dowry. So you see, it came with all the jewelry. You came all because that jewelry is part of her bedazzle when she comes. When she get off that camel, she gonna be bling bling. She gonna be cling cling. I like her shackles on her. She gonna be like that. Jewelry so heavy, like. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're like, there go my baby. There goes my baby. You jamming. Where you go? Yeah. See, that symbolizes the struggle you're going to have with me, boo. Let's go. It ain't going to be easy. All right. So the mother usually makes the dresses and they perform what they call a Layla al-Henna, which is they put the jewelry on her, decorate her with henna and some of the stuff. And henna's in the Bible. You read it in Song of Songs, so don't get scared. All right. And then you have the arga, which is the bride face that can't be seen. So she's being brought in a procession of camels. She has to cover her face with the arga. And then she gets off the camel and she goes into her husband, right? And so the TORAH, the bride is followed by the procession and travel on the camel to her husband. And then later she goes home to show her family she's okay. So she go back. She come back bearing gifts. I'm good, family. I'm good. Here you go. I got you this, Ima, Ava, sister, little brother. Hey, what about me? No, you bad. No, that's that. Yeah, we doing good. We doing good, man. My husband is excellent. He is excellent. Everything is good. I think we're about to have a baby. Things are going on. Like, okay, baby, we love that. We love that. Can we come over? Sure, you can come and visit. See, that's culture. See, you didn't even see the wedding in the book, did you? You didn't even see the wedding. It was so smooth. You just thought that they were just camel riding. Yeah, no, she came across. She had the elegance. She riding that. She had a special saddle. She riding on, all decked out, and she coming to see her baby. Isaac sitting there, you know, he because he laughed. Giggity, 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 giggity. He's just so happy. He's just so happy. He don't know what's going on. His Ema passed. They had to fill a void. That's right. He needs some loving. He's ready there. So he takes her immediately to his Ema's tent. Why? Because he's setting the foundation. This is how my mama used to treat me. You see that? You see my Ema used to do, and that's my club. My Ema used to do that over there. She used to do that. Used to do that. No, you just didn't sleep with her. No, you gotta look around. Look around. See all that gold you got on? Yeah. I'm like, you feeling good? Can you keep this up? Absolutely, I don't. And that's where it go. Then they play the violins and the music, and then y'all do your thing. That's cultural. Yes, sir. You may not have the camels, but we can rent some cars. and put a camel logo on it. But I'm talking about how your sister's supposed to look, how you supposed to feel. Don't value nobody if they ain't gonna do this for you. You want it, sister. Don't let them trick you. Get this. I want this. I want that. I'm precious. I'm valued. Especially you sisters, the young virgins. You can paint the elaborate weddings you want. When you give that to your daughter, anything she want. You want a bad wedding? I'm giving. We promoting it in Israel. You keep that token. You got the baddest wedding on the planet. You're gonna be laced up. We're gonna stop Saratoga for you. Yeah, we're gonna stop Saratoga. They're gonna have to block off the street. They're gonna have to block off the You waving at everybody like nobody even know what's going on. Like, what's going on? Shalom. You'll never forget that day in your life. Yeah, you get mad at him and you look back at that carriage ride that you had in the streets and everybody was like, you ain't that bad after all. Hey, you gotta have some order in it. But I want to describe, before I go out, and I'm about to close it out, the powers and the mistakes of relationships. And a lot of times we see Isaac gets married at 40. Men do not reach emotional maturity to about age 37. Anything else, you're risking. You are risking. And I'm not even saying at 40 they're going to get there. I'm saying you have a higher chance if you was a gambling person. You get a young boy, he's going to destroy you at this young age because he's just learning about himself. A 19-year-old boy is not a 19-year-old. He's not the same as a 19-year-old girl. He can learn, but we can teach our community to adapt because we have to adapt in the culture. But we have to put so much in our children that they're so elevated and strong. If you know a boy want to get married, then you're gonna have to invest everything in him. You're gonna have to make sure they have to eat. You're gonna have to ain't no drinking, ain't no eating, ain't no sleeping. You're gonna push hard. You want to be a man? Let's go. Because you got to have certain criterias. We got to have certain criterias because family is very imperative. And I end out with this. I talked about superheroes. I talked about their struggles. I talked about the superhumans. I talked about the struggle with King David. And all I was telling you about is a story of my father's life. My father meant so much to me in this world. He meant so much to my brothers. Though we all had struggles, it was times that we were all kicked out. Yeah, we were all kicked out. But our father still figured out how to fix things and bring back his family. So when he says he's standing here with 5 of his children, and he's standing here with 5 children, but not children that's going to be completely overshadowed by his legacy, but children that are going to create their own legacy. And that's something a lot of leaders can't see. And those that are very overcritical on life, they got to realize, how does your family look? And have you produced something in so much turmoil and so much pain and hurt that this person had? And my father didn't have a father. He created a father in his mind and still created these things that he have here. And yes, we have issues, but we are working to survive as individuals. We know we stand for the Creator. We know we're not perfect, and we ask God to forgive us every time. But we have a Father that instilled so much righteousness in us. In our struggles and in our trauma, we still consider God in all our works. And that's something different. My father, everyone that was ever in under his roof, practices and do this way of life with a passion. And yes, it's typical for us to suffer trauma because we have been sometimes the ones at home waiting for Abba, and Abba's out there fighting. Abba's out there doing things, moving the nation, and it hurts his child, and we don't understand because daddy's not home sometimes. But then when you criticize, I watch a man that lost and grabbed everything back and pulled it. And though it looks contaminated at times, discombobulated, he's still fighting for the love of his family. And at the same time, he got brothers around him that he loved, just like Eleazar Damascus, that are in positions to do great things and even take control of the household. And my father never was like that. He never was the person that would put his children over other children because that's not the way he thought. And see, my father, you loved him for his passion. But that passion comes with a lot. It comes with a lot of fire. It comes with the protection of sometimes when things are going against the natural Israelite direction, he has the ferocity to attack things ferociously. But that's part of his drive of who he is. And that's come from the era that he's from. That comes from who's been raised by. But he stood here, and my father always was the one who showed me love. My father would kiss me and embrace me, kiss me on my forehead and tell me I love me. He loves me. And after all that fire, after all that fight, most of my brothers, we cook it clean. Why? Our father trained us to do that. Our father taught us how to do things that most men weren't doing at certain times. And most of my brothers, not only does he have his 5 sons, but the older 4 have been in relationships almost 20 years plus. And it struggles at times, but who told you this was going to be easy? Who told you this was going to be easy? Don't let BET Love and Hip Hop paint something that ain't real. Don't let it paint something that ain't real. If you want to love, love. We struggle, we fight, we're going to grow. So name a father that's done that under the tutelage and been a religious pioneer and still maintained his family. I know not many. And that's why my father's a hero to me. And it's part of his struggle, it's part of his flaws that make him heroic to even do what he has done with so much adversity against him. And I love that man to death. And I tell you that story. I tell you that story. And no, I don't agree with everything. But when it's shut up time, it's shut up time. It's shut up time. And when I feel emotional, I shut up and I let my emotions out. Get your punk behind up and let's go back to work. Right? Baba don't let you get there. I called him one day. I was mad at Prince Natalia. I was crying. I said, Pain, don't do it. Don't do it. Like, he said, Pain, do not do it. Pain, I'll call you back. Daddy, no! And he ain't gonna answer for 2 weeks. He gonna answer for 2 weeks. He gonna call your wives. You're like, is he still crying? That's not my man. And I love him. I love him for that. And I want to call Prince Nat up, and I want to say something real quick. I call Prince Yak Raksha. I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody, and I want to say this before we show you a little short video. But my father did something last week that was so powerful. He went to show his other sons love, and my father was great when he did that. But when he did that, he became even greater. And it shows his stages of evolution. I'm so close to my father because I learn. I watch him and I say, that's me. I say, that's me. And the things that he did, he showed me how to tackle some issues. And even though we help encourage certain things, it's still that we got to do the same thing in our lives. Because sometimes pain hurts. And it's not easy to deal with, so sometimes we avoid it. But it's in the midst of that pain that you got to tackle that pain in order to get over that pain. And my father showed his power and his strength. Amen. And as the sons, we're going to, I'm turning over to one of my leaders and someone who I revere, Prince Nathaniel. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. First of all, giving all honor and praise to the power of our forefathers, to the power of Abraham, to the power of Yitzchak, to the power of Yisrael. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thanking him for our lives and the lives of our families. Thanking him for the lives of Kobeit Yisrael in the four corners of the earth. Giving all honor and due respect to him for his glorious name. And asking him that he allow us to magnify and glorify his name. And to give us strength and courage in the times when we are weak. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Secondly, I like to give due several Bavakasha. Secondly, I like to give due respect to my father, Chief Prince Support Ben Zavulun, asking that the Creator continue to guide, shield, and protect him, to bless him with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, a long life, and the strength that it takes to lead this segment of God's people. Also acknowledging the dignitaries who are here today, princes, chiefmen, brothers and sisters. Shalom, Nasi. Cats. Brothers and sisters. children, visitors, I bid you all in tongues of our ancient forefathers, Shabbat Shalom, Shalom Aleichem.
Shabbat shalom, shalom, God.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Just to add on to a couple of the words that my brother Nasi Yashuvel said, just to add to a couple of the words, I want everyone to understand that there is a love that I bear witness to that my father has for this nation. Just to add on to the point that you would sacrifice of yourself without asking for really anything in return. You understand? And that's why we are dedicated as soldiers to make sure that this thing happens. That's why we have to be dedicated as a people to make sure this thing happens. When my Abba Chief Principal went over to to his sons over at DCB, that was a big step in the right direction. And it took a big step. It took a big person to commit to that step. You understand what I'm saying? It took a big person. And this is why. When our father Abraham and when our father Yaakov took certain steps towards the Creator, they were elevated. They were elevated because they put their own stuff aside and pursued something for the greater good. That's what elevates you. So, through the Council of Princes, which is an organization that has been established to govern, we will no longer refer to Chief Prince as Chief Prince, but we will refer to him as Nasi Hagadol. Hallelujah. Can we rise? You got it? It ain't over. You got to sit here for a minute. You got to wait for a minute because we got a video we want to show you as well. It's on it. I ain't hear what you said.
No, and what I was saying, and the name is in honor of both of his teachers, Nasi Yaakov and Cohen Hagadol. So no longer, and the elevation is a beautiful thing, and I thank the Father for allowing me to be here with my father, and it just feels so great. And we got a video for y'all, please.
The video which we're about to play is from Prince Gabriel in Chicago.
And it's short because we had a little cut. He couldn't send the whole thing, so
right.
We'll just play a little bit of it.
Tamshi, Barakusha. Oh, we need the volume. Volume's up. Okay.
Appreciation and honor. So I watched this brother continue to accept our appreciation and honor. So I watched this brother continue to hold up our Benezakin legacy. I don't remember him skipping a beat in the continuation of the nation, building the nation of Israel. So again, I commend you, my good brother. Keep up the good works. I want to thank Prince Yashuvel. I want to thank Prince Nathaniel for allowing me this opportunity to commemorate their father, my good brother, Principal TORAH. I want to talk about a couple of things that we are working on. The leadership is the key factor in any nation. But the leadership, in addition to the leadership, we're working on expanding a council of leaders. One wise king once said, without counsel, a nation perish. So we need to learn to collaborate our leadership, combine our leadership into one effort under the Most High. We need to move beyond leadership and think about government. But first, we want to start off with a council, like I said, a council of leaders. Our government, we need to expand the leadership and think more of government. So our type of government, in spite of what we may want to believe.
Sorry to cut off there, but you get the picture.
Hallelujah. Like, Shavu Bavakusha. And what I want people to understand is that this adds to the Shabbat, because this is a positive command. This is a positive command. Torah tells us, it said, honor your father and your mother. This is Torah. You understand what I'm saying? And it is a pleasure and an honor to bear witness and to be a part of my father's life. You know? There, because what happens is, as Nasi Yashuva was saying, there's no separation between fathers and teachers. You understand? We even say it in hip hop. Man, I fathered your style. What that mean? I taught you how to rap. You understand? I brought forth that style. So it only bigs us all up. You know, when we can enjoy and bigging each other up, this gives other people an opportunity to respect what we have. That's why it's important. This is why I tell, even with the sisters, Nashim, it's very important too, that these brothers that have these officer titles, that you don't refer to them just by their name. It is important. I don't care how familiar you is. It is important that you call them by their title. How can we expect other people to respect what we have if we don't show a proper respect for it? This is called nation building. As a people, this is called nation building. This is what we have to do. We have to gather our community, but in order for it to shine, we got to take some pride in it. We got to take some pride in it. You know, some of the things I sat and I listened to, and it hit me because you realize that, guess what? Everybody has triggers. And trauma, yes, trauma created us all. But pressure make diamonds. Pressure make diamonds. And I thank the Creator for the life of my father. And I thank the Creator for his attitude of not letting up. You understand what I'm saying? Not letting up. You understand what I'm saying? Not letting up. Because this actually gave us a drive to build, man. There's no retreat, no surrender. This is all we got. We not letting up for nothing in the world. Wherever you go, you's an Israelite. You're going to rep that, regardless to who around you. How can we allow people who gangbang have more pride in what they stand for than the truth than we stand for? You understand? Some people will die for their flag. You got to be willing to die for what you believe in order to live for it. This is who we are. We Israel. Ain't no retreat on this one. Chief Prince, you got a couple words? Hallelujah. Come on.
Glory and praise is only given to the God of our forefathers, because he raises up and he brings down. He give and he take, and blessed be his name. You know, I didn't know this was happening. But I'll tell you this much. I had two teachers. One, Hakohen, who taught laws, statutes, and commandments, and how righteousness exalts the people when sinners are reproached to any people. And Cohen Levy, he stood on that. And that was his strength. And that was his righteousness. And when I gained knowledge, wisdom, and understanding a little more, I got older, I had to go back to my teacher and submit myself to him. You know? And when he got to know me, because at first he told me, don't mention my name. That's right. He wanted to make sure that I was doing right before I say that he was my teacher, so that I don't shame him. And he wasn't shy about saying that either. You know what I mean? Then he began to hear and see what was going on here, and he came here and he began to, and there's nothing greater than your teacher telling you that he's proud of you, and you about the only one that held up what he was talking about, you know, about, because there's a brother named Cohen Mikael. That ain't no joke. And I'm telling you, he ain't no joke all around the world. And I love him, whether he know it or not, and I respect him. Then God has blessed me to go to Bene Elohim, you know. And, you know, some things that happen to you, like I took a wife that was not in the manner that was acceptable to SHABBAT, to Kohen. He gave me 6-month vacation. You don't want to hear nothing. You out of here. You know what I mean? And I was the chief of a drummer. I bought that style of drumming that they got there. And brothers enhanced it, like even his sons. You know, they began to play it harder and they played it better. But we was a powerhouse band and we rocked it. But generations are supposed to get better that come after. So when he put me out, that great man on the wall there, Nasi Yaakov, with the turban on, the head of Bene Elohim. I'm walking down the street, me and a brother named Chief Sadiq, which is dead now. We ran into a brother named Prince Ari Kutan. And he said, Prince, support. And Chief Sadiq, I said, ain't no prince, man. He said, yes, you are. He said, Nasi Yaakov made you a prince. So I began to go up there. And I seen brothers, man, that were princes and chiefs, standing strong, decked out, rank and file, order. roughnecks. Yeah. And Nasi Yaakov, I met him for the first time, man. And I was at Or meeting him, and he is a street dude, man. But he was a prince. And he came from Ohio to New York, and he was Nasi Yaakov, and everybody wanted to know who was his teacher. Wasn't no princes and chiefs but him. He made princes and chiefs. Everybody else was black Jews. Even down to my teacher that I love so much, called Cohen Levy. And my teacher used to stop in Bene Elohim, and then he got it. And he became a monster Israelite, Cohen Levy. Yeah. So then I got to see that order of Nasi Yaakov and how great this man was, and how he used to, they had brothers used to go out there on Tompkins Avenue. I believe it was called the Hebrew Square, Tompkins Avenue Park. Ephraim was there before I was, Captain Ephraim. And you see a lot of Best-I, they were Israelites. Israelites all up and down Tompkins Avenue, Nostrand Avenue. You know what I mean? Nobody had, and Nasi Yaakov would go to war and fight you if you made princes and chiefs, because he was laughed at. And that came from him. So I kept what I learned from Cohen Levy, and I kept what I learned from Nasi Yaakov. And I never retired from it. Even when the camp Ben Azakin closed down here in Brooklyn, and there was no more teachings, I used to go to the houses on Shabbat and get them chief men and princes' kids and bring them out and teach them. Whether we taught in the park, we taught in a courtyard, we taught in my house, we taught in Ema Pope's basement. You understand? And I never dropped it. And I held it up until this very day, when I seen brothers that were underneath that go back into other ways that was not of the likings or choosing of Bene Elohim. What I'm fighting for is that council of princes, because you're not going to bring that into Judaism. You're not. And I'm one of, and I have to go to Chicago first, because I went there. And I met brothers, man, that when I first went there, even though I was a prince, there was princes that were before me that I bowed to every single one of them, because they were before me and they were greater than me. And I'm worried about the title and stuff, but I held it down when a lot of people retired. My brother Prince Gabriel was still fighting, you know, still holding down, and it's not easy to hold stuff down in Chi-Town. Huh? So for him to come out with his turban on when everybody's flagging something, he putting his life on the line. You understand? And it's important that we understand that. That's why there is no such thing as some other people in New York making princes and chiefs. You can't make princes and chiefs and you in Judaism. And I want you to know that, man. It can't go that way. Nasi turn over in his grave. You had you had brothers in Chicago, man, that on Yom Kippur, and this is glory to God. Yom Kippur, we had to march on the 11th Street precinct in Chicago. Nobody never did that. Nazi went out there, and you seen the police roll up with look like German motorcycles, German helmets, and all kind of stuff like that. And we had to stand there. You know, there's brothers in Chicago that I still respect, whether they're active or not. You understand? And that's very important. Nasi Yaakov used to give, and when he came to New York, that whether I wanted to or not, there wasn't a day that he was here that he didn't call me up to sit with him for hours. All day long. And I had to go up there, and he used to just call me Bird. Hey, Bird. You know, tell a Bird, I said, come on up here. And I had to sit, and I hear the same thing over and over and over again. And I wanted to go downstairs, but I couldn't, neither could I voice it. I had a job where I maintained a building on Lincoln Place for Jewish people. He called me to Chicago. I had to go home that same day, tell my wife, yo, Isha, I have to go. And I left. And I didn't know when I was coming back, because I heard another brother talk about he had to go back, and Nasi put that on speaker, so I knew not to say that. I knew not to say, Nasi, I got to go, so and so and so. So I just shut up. And when it was time to go, I left. I always soldiered. You understand? And I wasn't looking to be no big shot, because we had BC3 and we had BZ7, Bene Zakin 3 and Bene Zakin 7. And we had chief men that came out of a SHABBAT with me that was in charge. We had one chief man that was in charge, but I ran the camp because of my diligence. And I had to bring them that I grew up with on charges to Nasi Yaakov. Wasn't easy, but I always fought. I always fought, man. And I'm not about ready to let anyone play this princehood and chief man thing cheap. You understand? Yes, and like he said, you see, you have to be around and see what's going on with chief men and princes that I just made. When you're not here and you don't understand what's going on, you think I'm just randomly making, no. I see from the past how to make this thing happen now. You understand what I'm saying? I was honored to make Chief Kazak a chief. And I wish I had more officers like him. And that's not to put nobody down, but his diligence and his work and his dedication. Huh? You know how many years of SH'MA YISRAEL I've been trying to get brothers to go out in the street to where I had to carry this thing outside myself and the speakers and talk myself? Where he do it with joy, him and Chief Barak. I can't let Chief Barak go to Georgia. He leaving tonight. He married my daughter. I did the wedding. I did the thing with them Saturday night, right? It was Saturday night? I couldn't let him go to Georgia less than nobody there for the work that he put in. And I got, yeah. Only one he under is Nasi. He's under Nasi Yashuvel. Because of the work. Work means something, man. This way of life,
You're going to have men women that are dedicated to God and nation. It wasn't easy. You think it's easy? It's not. It's the most uncomfortable position to be in, leadership. But you're going to have to make up your mind either to be truthful or a liar before God. And I'm truthful even against my own. If mine ain't right, you ain't right, Bane. And that's the way they got to be, so that God don't throw this down. And this is important. Much respect, all glory and honor due to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Rank and file. That's the Yaakov. God bless his memory. And them officers in Chicago that inspired me. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Praise the mighty Yah. By order. Come on, older guy. SH'MA. And I got Yasha, I got it. Because these are, I love them so much, man. And you know what it is? You can't come up with nobody that would tell the truth, that say that when they was here, that I didn't serve them. And didn't serve them with righteousness. But the old cloth is what people reject in this day and time because they don't have that strength. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And TORAH Yehovah. And we got Nasi Kez here. And I thank God for him. He reached out to me, you know, and we went back and forth. But look at him. He's here. Hallelujah. 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 Love you, man.
Hallelujah. Also, I want to give respect because I had a few videos, right, and I didn't want to do too much, but some of them kind of got scrambled on the way, and I couldn't get them in time. But I was supposed to be making a couple of trips to Jerusalem. There's congregations out there that's not affiliated with KOY or any other group that have seen Abba's work and want him to come out there and speak about the amalgamation of influences from the Western side of our beliefs that are trying to take over to the people like us. You know what I'm saying? And there's we have also a brother named Omar Shengo from South Africa, who also has been here before and has visited Abba and is inviting Abba to South Africa. And also out there in Nigeria, Abba's got an invite to Nigeria to go out there because there's brothers out there and other Israelites other than the Igbos, but also the Amazosa tribe that have royal representation, that we are going to start traveling the world and going out there and start fighting for fighting against Western imperialism. And we're going to do it with the best of our ability. We are not amalgamating to no system. We're not joining with nothing. We are the system, you know. And we're going to close out soon, but I want to bring up a brother who I got reacclimated with recently, and it was a very important part of my life. I was a teacher in Temple Kipharim as long as being a teacher with SH'MA and SH'MA YISRAEL. But I was with him, and I learned a lot being with him. And the brother's very extremely wise, intellectual, and it's somebody that I know we have to be allied with strongly. And because of his fight and what he believes in, his knowledge and in his understanding. And right now, I want y'all to all give a claw and call up the teacher and for us to give a few words to Nasi Kez. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
How much time I got? As you know, Prince ain't got no sense when he get in front of a mic. That's it. It's over. I got to 2 o'clock? Oh, man, you gave me more than enough time. I got some garlic in my mouth, so y'all got to forgive me. I'm going to talk a little bit funny. My teeth hurt real bad, and it sends pain all the way up to my head. But I refuse to get my teeth pulled out because they bones, you know. The teeth ain't rotten, it's just hurt. So I don't want them to take it out. So please bear with me, as you know, my words might be a little funny. Giving all honor and praise unto the Most High King of all creation, thanking him for this day and for the life of you all, and also thanking him for this memorial occasion. I had no idea this was taking place, but I'm so glad that I got to be a part of it. You know, this here, that, oh man, I was ready to cry. Seriously, it is an honor when those who have fought and paved the way for us so long are honored by us. It means so much. You know, the Gentiles, they honor their people. But in this nation, we kind of like play it down like if we don't want to give praise and glory to a man. But yes, we should, because it's our way. It's our culture. And this man here, I call him the King of New York. If y'all don't know, you don't know. But to me, this man is the King of New York. This is the man who set me down so that y'all who don't know, I might have been guilty of some of that stuff he was talking about. I'm going to clear the air and say that I'm not. He made me a prince. This man and two other men at the time set me down and made me a prince. So I didn't cheat. And I didn't steal my way in, you know, and say, so I'll fall under that same mortar, Ben as I came, that he was speaking of, with documentation to verify. So I'm thankful for that. But this man has been a great influence in my life as well over the years. I grew up pretty much knowing all of his sons, and we've all had our own little separate relationships. So I'm very thankful for his life and the portions of education that he could share with me. So I salute him as well. Shalom. So I said to myself, now see, he asked me, was I going to teach? I told him I was coming to New York this Shabbat. Didn't know all this was going to be going on, but I said, no, I don't want to teach. I might say a little bit, but I got a half hour. So there's no way that I'm going to just let that half hour run and don't speak unto the Most High's people. I got a little bit that I want to touch on. Okay. You going to read for me? TORAH. We're going to go to the book of Judges, the 19th chapter. May the Most High guide my mind, my spirit, my body, my language, and my speech as I approach unto you, his people. There was something up here on the board a little earlier speaking about the honor of a samurai warrior. And it said something about he had to be loyal to his Lord. It's amazing how the Most High Spirit works. Because I have to say this because I want you to know that this is not something that we put together. Me and the brothers who rode down here with me, I spoke to them about how I wanted to present something if I was called up to speak. So they know and they can bear record of the things that I'm about to speak about are true. We spoke about honor, integrity, fathers, masters, lords, the difference between a teacher and a leader. Because to me, there's a great teacher, a great difference. Many men can be teachers, but only few are called to lead. Now, a leader can be a teacher, but a teacher doesn't necessarily make him a leader. A lot of teachers are weak leaders, but a leader is a leader because of what he's earned. He earned that right. So when I was reading this morning, I looked up the definition of the word father. I looked up the definition of the word Lord. Looked up the definition of master. All of these words have something in common. It describes a position of authority. A man can be a father to a congregation of people and be called father or Abba. In our culture, we got a problem with that because it ain't but one Abba. We're going to get that to the Creator. But I think, I hear you, brother. but I disagree. As we was told today, we have a Prince Hagadol that distinguishes the difference between all the other Nisakim that we have. And I respect that. But when you say Abba Hagadol, now you're reverencing the Almighty of all creation. See, I would have my Isha call me Abba, if it pleased her, if I'm worthy of it. My children call me Abba. So is that wrong? No. So I use this because I want to ease you into something, and I want you to understand where I'm going, but I got to break the foundation. I know you know. I got to break the foundation so that you don't come in here with that mind state of that sickness that they gave us for the last, 400 years? And that's honoring our own. A husband is a father. Do you understand what I'm saying to your family? Well, we got to work together. If you hear something and it makes sense, then yeah, got you, Prince. Yeah, got you. A husband is a father. His job is to protect, to nurture, to look after, and provide for his family. Am I right? That's right. So now, what's the difference between her calling him Abba and her calling him Ish? It's a symbol of respect, that's all. Because my Isha is going to be called Ima from me. And I'm a man. But if she's worthy, she's going to demand that through her actions, that I acknowledge and respect and honor her as such. So let's go to the book. I think I might have laid down the foundation. I really want to touch on husbandry and husband and the difference of Lord and master and king. So we're going to take a journey, and I'm going to try to get through it as quick as possible, because now I only got 30 minutes. I know I had 30 before, but I had to give you the intro. Now we're going to get that 30 minutes started. Judges, the 19th chapter, we're going to start at the first verse.
Hallelujah.
Now, anybody that knows this, that's familiar with this, is going to be like, well, Prince, what this got to do with anything that we're dealing with today? Well, you're going to learn. We're going to take this journey together, and you're going to hear some things. You're going to read this chapter. It's going to be explained to you, probably like it's never been explained to you before. And I say this in humility because I'm going to dig deep, and I'm going to try to pull out some things. And those who have a listening ear will truly understand in their heart where I'm going. If you don't, then this message wasn't for you. Read on, please.
We're in the book of Judges, chapter 19, verse 1. Let us all say hallelujah. 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 And it came to pass in those days when there was no king in Israel.
When was it? What time was it? There was no king. So there was no father over the house of Israel. There was nobody to give us order and structure and make sure that we was provided for and that we moved in a positive, righteous direction. We pretty much did what we chose to do. Am I right?
Okay.
Read on, please.
That there was a certain Levite sojourning on the farther side.
There was a Levite.
Country.
There was a Levite. Lewi, join to me. Read on, please.
Of the hill country of Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem and Yehudah. Now stop. This man who was a Lewi, he took and grabbed a concubine and pulled him to himself. You know what we think about concubines? Is a concubine a wife? She's not a wife, is she? That's what you thought. But our forefathers felt different. She was. Would you say, sis? She's a lesser wife. She is a wife. That's right. She's a lesser wife, but in fact, she's a wife. And we're going to learn some things through this scripture, but it's going to pull out so many things that we ain't paying attention to through this chapter. Read on, please. And his concubine played the harlot against him.
What did she do?
Played the harlot against him.
Now, when it says she's played the harlot, it did not say she lay with any other man. I put emphasis on this because it's important. Sisters, you can step out of line by having what Nasi was talking about, that sassiness about yourself. You can be called a harlot for just conducting that attitude where I'm going to do for myself. I don't need no man. I'm going to do this. And you get up and take it upon yourself and you leave your husband bone dry. You go back wherever you're going, but you become disrespectful in your nature. That's a violation. That will earn you a title. And that title that we had in the ancient days, it was a harlot. Never does it say she lay with anybody. But she took it upon herself to say what she wanted to do, regardless of what her head had for her to do. I think you need to listen, because there's a message in what it is that I'm saying. Thank you. Her head had a certain parameter, structure, order in place. But she chose, and sisters, I'm not attacking you because you're my sisters. I love y'all. And this really isn't even an attack on a sister at all, if you follow me and understand where I'm trying to go. Her heads had a certain structure and order that the head of the family, the head of the house, her Lord, her father, her husband, that he had laid out. But instead of her doing what it was that he had laid out and structured, she took it upon herself to just get up and out and go where she chose to go against the will of her master. Read on, please.
And went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem in Yehudah, and was there the space of 4 months.
She left for 4 months. She was totally out of order. Now this man, this Levite, this master, this head, this husband, he could have been nasty. You know, he could have divorced her. He could have, as they would think, did a whole lot of evil things. He could have cussed her out and could have beat her down. You know, some of y'all will do that. I don't agree with it, but some of y'all will do it. And when I find out you do it, I don't talk to you no more. But some of you will do it. I used to be guilty of that type of evil stuff myself until I had to realize that it wasn't right. So if some of y'all are still doing it, bring it under control, brothers, because that ain't what it's about. Believe me, if you can't control and rule your household from your mind and your mouth, then you don't deserve a household. Just that simple. And any woman that's going to tolerate and allow that type of thing to take place in her house, she don't deserve to be a wife. I'm going to leave that alone and I'm going to move forward. Let's go on and let's deal with the topic at hand. Back up a little bit so I don't get discombobulated, please.
All right.
Read on.
And this concubine played the harlot against him and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem in Yehudah, and was there the space of 4 months. And her husband arose and went after her.
And what did he do?
To speak.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't give it away. The brother got up and he went to go get his wife. Men, a lot of times we too proud to go get what belongs to us. You know where I'm at. We too proud to go get it. We got that arrogance. We got that haughtiness of, I ain't going after no woman. I'm not going to chase after no woman. She don't want to be here. She ain't got to be here. Yo, brother, that's not what the heads of family do. The heads of family get up out your seat and you go and you get what belongs to you. But if you go and she got a gun and she got a squad and she's resisting, then the only thing you can do is pack up and go back home. But it shows the humility and, as I was told earlier, the elevation in a person's character, in this individual's character, that he actually humbled himself. He was the master. He was the Lord of his house. But yet, what did he do? He humbled himself and he went and spoke what? What did he speak? He spoke kindly to her.
To bring her back.
Oh, he could have got rough. He could have, and she was only a concubine, so they say. He could have got rough, but he didn't get rough. He got spiritual. He used the wisdom of the Almighty. He had 4 months to think about how he was going to conduct himself with his harlot wife. He could have did a whole lot of foul. Most of us would have did something nasty, something foul. We would have hurt him. We would have punished him. That's not what he did. I've learned just recently, and I mean recent, within the last month, that when people offend you, whether it be your Isha, your husband, your children, you deal with your children. You got to sometimes spank them a little bit and get them in line. Your boss, your employer, you speak your piece. And you move on. Anything, if it's a man and you're dealing with your wife, you give her just due. You might not want to, and I had my reasons in many cases why I didn't want to, but I learned that it's best to let them be in the hands of the Creator. You do your part and you don't stop and you don't cease and you don't give up. You still do what you have to do to provide, unless you might turn her into a harlot. You don't do that. You separate from her physically, but whatever provisions you had to provide for her, you continue on those things unless you give her a bill. It's because you're angry and you're separated don't mean a thing. Believe me, leadership is a hard job and it's an ongoing thing that you will always have to learn. Don't shut yourself out to wisdom. And don't be so quick as the Levite. He was slow to anger. 4 months, slow to anger, because the book says when he approached her with words of kindness, of wisdom. That's how he approached. He had every right to be angry. Grab her by the hair and drag her down the street. You know, every right to be disrespectful because what? She disrespected him. She undermined his authority. She says, you're not worthy to be my husband. I'm up and I'm out. What did he do? He left her in the hands of the Almighty. Believe me, you don't have to fight the Creator's battles. You just got to do your part. And as long as you continue to do your part, if you're right, the enemies or those who are wrong will be turned over to a delusion, confusion, mishaps, all types of negativity. It will look good. I bet she was happy when she was home for them 4 months, thinking she was enjoying life. I get to make my own decisions. I get to do what I want to do. I get to go where I go. I ain't got no curfew. I could dress like I want, do whatever I want, call myself whatever I want. She was happy. She was cool. That's why she left. Because you're a ruler. She don't want that authority. She don't want that type of people over top of her telling her what to do. So she went back to her father's house where she could have some freedom to do what she wanted. She took it upon herself to do what she wanted. And what happens? Read on. Let's see what happens.
To bring her back, having his servant with him and a couple of asses, and she brought him into her father's house.
He took his servant with him and a couple of asses, because he wanted her to come back, on an ass. He could have made her walk. But no, I got an ass for you, baby. You can ride it. Come on, let's go. He had his servant with him to show that he's coming in peace. I don't mean any aggression, no anger. I'm doing this out of respect. I love my woman. I don't want her to go anywhere. She made a mistake. Maybe she didn't understand. So I'm just coming. I'm going to speak smoothly to her. And maybe I can win her over again, take her home, and get this thing right. But the Creator had a different plan in mind. He has something totally different going on. Let's continue to read if we can get to that part. Time is running out, man. We might have to stretch that clock a little bit, man. It's heavy for those who have an ear to hear. If you don't have that ear, you're not going to hear it. Read on, please.
And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him.
What the father say? He was happy. What would the book say about the pop? He saw that righteous man. He saw that Levite. You see, in the ancient days, when a Levite enters into your home, you have to be special to him. Oh, yes, a blessing. You try to keep them there as long as you can, because as long as he's in your home, that blessing is upon your household. So when a Levite come in, yeah, come on. Can you imagine the day when he married the man's daughter? How happy he may have been? Wow. He didn't want that man to leave. Watch, he's going to keep him like 5-6 days. Just come on, brother. Just sit down and eat, because he's being good to you. We have lost that type of hospitality within this nation today. You understand? When a stranger come into the town, we're supposed to look out for him. Stranger professing to be Israel, we're supposed to go over and aboard to look out to make sure he's comfortable. Some people call it the hospitality of Abraham. We have to look out for our own, but we got to reintroduce these customs, because as the ancient traditions and customs of our people would tell us, a lot of us have chosen a different lifestyle, a different direction. And they're going to cover that in this book if I let us get down there long enough. So I got to hurry up, because please give me like 15, 20 more. If I can get it, we'll see where I'm at, because there's a lot I need to cover. Let's go deal with this, please. But watch how the father of the house, her father, treats the Levite that came to reclaim his property, what belongs to him. Read on, please.
And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him, and he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink.
He stayed for 3 days, eating and drinking and being merry, sitting back talking, and guess what? And drinking. They was getting it in. They was relaxing, was soothing the mind. Read on, please.
And it came to pass on the 4th day that they arose early in the morning, and he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, stay thy heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward ye shall go your way. So they sat down and did eat and drink, both of them together. And the damsel's father said unto the man, be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thy heart be merry.
He don't want that man to leave. Read on, please.
And the man rose up to depart, but his father-in-law urged him, and he lodged there again. And he arose early in the morning on the 5th day to depart.
He don't want him to leave. Now, in this part, we getting ready to get into something that's going to shut the house down. I'm going to emphasis on it. I'm a broad emphasis, and I'm going to bring it out, and I'm going to share it with you. But let's travel. Go ahead.
And the damsel's father said, stay thy heart, I pray thee, and tarry ye until the day declineth.
What he say?
He said, stay thy heart.
Pay attention, family.
I pray thee, and
What?
tarry ye until the day declineth.
Stay thy heart and stay and tarry for the day declines. Read on.
And they did eat, both of them.
Uh-huh.
And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant and his father-in-law, the damsel's father said unto him, Behold,
the day draweth to where?
Evening.
Wait a minute. The day draweth toward evening, right?
Okay.
Read on.
Tarry, I pray you, all night.
Tarry all night.
Behold, the day groweth to an end.
Because the day is growing to a what?
An end.
It was like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, wasn't it? He said the day is drawing toward evening, correct? And he also said the day is coming to an end. So then if the day is coming to an end and it's getting ready to be evening, then what is evening bringing in but the next day? Thank you. Shut it down. Ain't no question about it. Don't play. The Creator be opening up these windows, man. He be causing some knowledge to fall to the sky if we but listen. The problem is we don't want to listen. We already know. Our forefathers knew when the day began. It's written in the scripture, and I didn't write it. Read on, please.
Lord said that thy heart.
I told you I got some stuff for you. We're going to do this together, family, all right? Just make sure I get a copy of this video. Read on, please.
And tomorrow get you early on your way.
Tomorrow.
That thou mayest go home.
Well, Prince, what it means tomorrow, I'm going to break that down for you, what tomorrow means. Well, listen, once that sun went down and that evening was in, that was tomorrow too. But it wasn't tomorrow daylight. He didn't say that. He said tomorrow, which he would be right by definition. It doesn't mean tomorrow starts when the sun rises. It meant the next day. Once that evening was over and done with, that is tomorrow. We have to understand, family. It's a method to it. Read on, please.
But the man would not tarry that night, but he rose up and departed and came over against Jebus, the same as Jerusalem.
Now stop. The man wouldn't party that, he wouldn't travel that night. Now this next word I need y'all to pay close attention to because it's going to make sense a little bit later. It's called Jebus. Do anybody know what Jebus is? I'm sure you probably don't know what it is. They're going to tell you right there in the book. It's Jerusalem. Yerushalayim. It's the ancient name for Jerusalem. Before Jerusalem became Jerusalem, it was called Jebus. The inhabitants of Jerusalem was Jebusites. Okay? Keep that in your mind. And it's something that I want to cover. And that we might get done this in 15, 20 minutes. Read on, please.
And there were with him a couple of asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. When they were by Jebus, the day was far spent.
Now,
and the servant.
Stop. I don't want to keep stopping you, but I got to make sure that y'all walking with us. He just left the father's house. He's with his Isha, or his concubine. The father calls him the damsel's husband. You see, we missed that part. I'm talking too fast. But we say that a concubine is not a wife. Our forefather says a concubine is a wife. So I agree with my sister in the back. I don't know who that was so diligent. Thank you for that understanding. But a concubine is a wife. She's a servant wife. That's what she is. Her father calls her Lord and her master her husband. So let's clear that up. So sisters, if a man says, I want to make you my concubine, it's not a disrespectful thing. No, seriously. We have taught that that's like a low class thing, but it's not. It's an honor to be attached to a man of honor. So take that in stride because it means a lot. Read on, please. We getting there though.
The servant said unto his master, come, I pray thee, and let us turn aside into the city of the Jebusites.
Stop for a second. I want to dance on this for a minute. Was this servant a boy? It was a man. He was a man. But what did he say to who? His master. So why is it that we think that men can't be considered to be in higher elevation of the titles of nobility over us? It was a grown man calling another man my master. What's wrong with this? Nothing. But because we have been through 400 years of psychological damage, we think we know what we're doing. We sick, family. We are not ourselves. Even the best of us are not ourselves. The things we do, the way we conduct ourselves with each other is disrespectful to our fathers of the past. They would never do the things we do today. You get up and turn against your master, your Lord, your king, your husband. You can't do these things and think that it's okay. It's evil. So how do you expect the Most High to bless her? How does she expect to get blessed when she just packed up and walked out and left her master at her own desire? What makes that right? Nothing makes it right. She needs to be corrected, but not by you. You can't correct her. You cannot do the job. It's going to take the power of the Almighty to bring forth his judgment. We have to understand that. So while a man is trying to run his house by his hands, and I'm trying to rule you, I'm going to shut you up. Sit down, woman. I'm here today to tell you that that's not the way that a real leader runs his household. And if you're worthy of the title Abba, that's not the way that you do it. Okay? So we on the same page so far? But I want you to watch this. Who inhabits the land of Jerusalem today? Ashkenaz, them infiltrators, them perpetrators. They want to be you. They want to be me. What are they teaching us? Judaism. Is it right? Is it right? No. Am I right? All right. I feel better now. Yeah. You understand? They're teaching us Judaism, which is not the ways of our forefathers. Okay? If you ever read and really study Judaism, in the Talmud, they teach you that it's okay for a little boy, for a grown man to intermingle. It's cool. They also teach you things like, as long as it's not in the front, then she's still a virgin. No, this is real. It's in their books. But you have to understand. You have to research, learn, and understand what you're getting into because they got order, because they got structure. Yeah, they do got a lot of structure because they running a whole lot of stuff. They haven't had their minds stripped from them. We struggling to get our minds back. The best of us, as I said earlier, is still struggling to get our minds back in a righteous position, in a righteous manner of thinking. We don't even know how to treat our women, let alone treat ourselves. There's a brother that I promised that I would mention this today, and I haven't lost my place, and I'm going to be right there on point. It was about endurance. It was about giving up, taking on the battles. This brother, he has a Israelite clothing line called Akwear. Look it up sometime when you get a chance. Help the brother out. Akwear. He called me last night. He had all these problems that he needed to discuss with me. So we're talking, me doing my part as I'm supposed to do. We're discussing, and he mentions to me that life or things are so difficult that he thinks about quitting. So, I had to take advantage of that. And I had to let him know that we're not those kind of people. We can't quit. No matter how difficult, no matter how hard, even if the husband is out of order. Even if the husband is out of order. I'm not saying he's perfect, because a lot of us make mistakes and we might be wrong. But it's a duty and a responsibility that you can't quit. You can't give up. You have to continuously move forward. You understand? But that family structure is most important. Because once the family separates, our chances of survival extremely slim. It's almost done. The brother understood where I was coming from. And those of you who haven't here, you're going to understand too before the end of this lesson today. Read on, please. I'm going to try.
Master said unto him, we will not turn aside into the city of a foreigner.
Stop. Stop. I be trying to wonder if y'all with me. I mean, I know some people still making it. Well, Prince, what are you all over the place, Prince? No, I haven't. I haven't left. I haven't left. I've been on the same course, heading the same direction, walking in the same path since I stood up here and cracked my first joke. I haven't changed. If you have the mind to understand where I'm traveling at, then you will accept it. But if you don't, if you're not really listening to me, you're not going to understand where I'm going. You're going to reaching your fragment of your imagination, and you're going to draw, well, Prince is here, and Prince is there, and he's no. I'm in the same place from the beginning to the end. You just have to pay attention so you can understand where I'm traveling. Okay? Where did they turn to?
It says, and his master said unto him,
no, we're not going into Judaism. Wait a minute. We're not going where? We don't play that. We're not going to do that. Jebus. He says we're not going to Jebus. Why was it that he had to tell his servant that we're not going to Jebus? He gives a reason.
He said, we will not turn aside into the city of a foreigner.
No matter what, we're not turning into the foreigner. You understand what I'm trying to? You're getting it now. Oh, we waking up. Judaism is not for us. It's not us. And we should flee from it. I had a conversation with a brother the other day. This is why I'm drawing emphasis on this. I had a conversation with a brother that I reached out to. You know the brother. Good brother. I'm learning the brother. And this brother tells me that he's going to be walking away from the traditional, the way that we keep law, and he's going to be gravitating toward Judaism. So he explains to me his whole process and his reasonings. I don't argue with nobody now. I just let people do. I give them a little bit of advice and I try to reason with you. And when you get to that place, well, Prince, this is where I am, and my mind is stuck, then I have to, I run. I back out gracefully, and then when I get out, I take off. Because that's contagious. It is. It's contagious. They got order. They got structure. Yes, they do got a lot of order. They got a lot of structure, and they got a whole lot of other stuff that you really have to look deep into to see. It's just like Christianity. It looks so good on the surface. So good on the surface. The brother actually said to me that they have order and structure. So I laid down the Karaites against the rabbis, the Reforms against the Orthodox. Where's all the structure at? It's only within one little sect that there's a form of structure, but they're all going to war against each other. What's the difference in what we do here today? The difference is that they got them dollars. They have an influence, and we don't have those dollars. So we are less of an influence. So that's more attractive to people because they have those dollars, which creates those fancy synagogues. And you know, Yisrael, we have been deprived for so long, we want to gravitate to something that looks good. So it attracts a lot of us. These big fancy buildings with your history written on their walls, the Torah all over here, the scrolls, how they stand up and recite the law, they read in the Hebrew. Oh man, this is amazing. I love this. But it's a false thing. It's all a part of the trap. And you don't even understand it. Your heart is so opened up to try to belong that you're separating yourself from your family to be a part of something that has nothing to do with you. You know, I gotta go because I love my family. So I try to speak respectfully to my family. I love my family. I don't care if you in Christianity in the church, you Hebrew, you my brother, I love you to death. I'll go to war with you and I'll fight with you and I'll also try to teach you. I'll try to help you. So when this young man, who was a man, spoke to his master, and he says, Let's go and turn into the first city they saw, the city of Jebus, and let's be cool. The man who had the wisdom said, nah, we keep going that way. Because he was a leader. All I'm trying to show you is what Lewi did from beginning to end. Lewi was the type of leader that had compassion. He understood, this is my wife, that means she's hurting. You know, do we even try to understand our Nashim? Do we even? No, we don't. Most of us, it's either my way or no way. What did I say? We don't take the time to try to be compassionate and understand what's making her hurt. But good leadership means that you'll do that. So what I mean is, if you're the head of the household, you're going to take the time to understand what's ailing her. She just didn't get up for no reason. She didn't pack her bags and walk out and leave. She was disrespectful in doing so. Totally out of order. But there was a thing behind the thing, that if you don't look and search and try to find out what that thing is, most men today will say, I ain't chasing no woman. I ain't going to chase her. But I'm telling you, you're wrong. If you're a true leader, you have to understand what it's about. King Dawid had to give it up too. What King Dawid say? The bear and the lion came, and they only had one lamb, but he fought for that lamb, didn't he? You understand what I'm trying to say? That's right. You're supposed to fight for it. She's yours. She belonged to you, but you got to earn it. You don't just get it because you're the man. You got to earn it. You got to be that type of leader, be that type of husband, be that type of father. Now, after you've done that 40 years, you should be that type of man. You should already have learned the proper method to get it right. You understand? And sometimes that means you have to humble yourself and speak smoothly to your wife or your woman and say, you know what? I'm not going to fight with you. I'm just going to say, whether you're right or wrong, I just want to hear you out. So let me come, sis, and let me talk to you and let me get an understanding, because I could be wrong. And it might take you to help me to be a better man, a better leader, a better father. You understand? Even a better servant to the Almighty. A lot of men think that their women can't teach them anything. That's the worst thing you could ever do. If the Creator grabbed her and brought her to you, it's for a reason. It's for a reason. But now, here we go. He said, no, we ain't going into the land of Jebus, because in the land of Jebus is contaminated. He said, let's search out and find our own people. People who think like we think. People who live like we live. You understand? Our own people, and let's work with them. But what happened when he went and found his own people? Watch what happens when he finds his own people. Sometimes your own people can be the worst of people. Let's read on and let's see what happens. You know what I'm talking about. Now walk with me, family, because we're going to travel together. Read on, please.
But we will pass over to Geba. And he said unto his servant, come and let us draw near to one of these places, and we will lodge in Geba or in Ramah. So they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them.
Now they passed over they passed over Jebus, and they went straight to their own people. You understand? We went to people who keep law like us, supposedly. People who honor the Creator, call upon the Most High's name, supposedly. People who supposed to do what we do because we all learn from the same person. You understand? Some of these people were the people probably that we raised up. We probably taught them things. We probably showed them things and brought them into a better way and a better standing and a better way of living. So we had to go to them because we was in a distant land down. So we had to go to them seeking refuge because we needed a place to sleep. We had food. We had clothes. We had water. We didn't need their provisions. We had all the provisions we needed. The only thing we needed was to get out of the elements of the earth. We needed a place to rest our head. That's it. Read on, please.
And the sun went down upon them near to Geba, which belonged to Benjamin.
Benjamin, right?
King Benjamin.
Right.
And they turned aside thither to go into lodge into Geba. And he went in and sat him down in the broad places of the city. For there was no man that took them into his house to lodge.
Why was that? Why would you be in it? First of all, he was a Levite. Exactly. See, when the leaders of your people come into your town, you're supposed to honor them. But forget the leader. This is just one of your brothers. We're supposed to show honor when a brother comes to another brother. We're supposed to show honor. There is no way that you can leave one city and go into another city, and when you get there, they shut the door and don't let you in. It don't go that way. I don't care who this person was and how you got down with him in the past. We are not supposed to represent the Almighty in this fashion. That's not how we do it, huh? The Levite came into the city and they wouldn't even give him a place to rest his head. That's not right. That's not honorable. He was a man of the Almighty. He wasn't just a man, a regular traveler. He was the servant. He was the one who goes between the Almighty and us. But remember how this book started out? Everybody was doing what was right in their own. You understand? And you see how it is that I said to you, don't even try to take offense to it. Let the Almighty fight the battle for you. Read on, please. Hey, can I say something before we begin? I told you. I tried to warn you, didn't I? You thought you must don't know me. It's your first time meeting me? She must be. Let's travel, please.
And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field that even. Now the man
Watch this. The old man came out of the field at night. One person out of thousands of people came out of the field, and it was at night. He had to sneak and do it. And watch what happens. Watch what happens with this old man. He thought he was sneaking. He thought nobody saw him. He thought he can do something under the covers where nobody knew what it was that he was doing. Watch what happens. Read on, please.
Now the man was of the hill country of Ephraim, and he sojourned in Geba. But the men of the place were Benjamites. And he lifted up his eyes and saw the wayfaring man in the broad places of the city. He
didn't even know the man was a Levite yet. He just, out of his honor for his own people, he saw a stranger, how we are supposed to be toward our own people. Now, when he found out that this man was Hebrew, it was even better. We're supposed to look out for our own family. You don't let our own come to us and we say, no, ain't nothing in my pockets. I can't help you, when you got it in your pockets to help. You don't do that. You will bring down the wrath of the Almighty upon your head. Believe me. And it might not happen today, but it's going to creep up on you. And it's definitely going to happen. Read on, please. You getting there.
And the old man said, whither goest thou? And whence comest thou? And he said unto him, we are passing from Bethlehem, in Judah, unto the farther side of the hill country of Ephraim. From thence am I. And I went to Bethlehem in Judah, and I am now going to the house of the Lord.
He's now going where?
To the house of the Lord.
This is a holy man. He's on his way to the house of the Creator. Who does he have with him, family? You said it right. His wife, his concubine, because she's a wife. You're right. And his servant. Correct, right? Headed toward the house of the Almighty. So I want to paint this picture because I need you to understand. This man actually went and got his Isha, spoke kindly to her, stayed another 5 days, almost 6 days in her father's house. Now, how many of us would, no, you coming home, we getting out of here right now. No, this man was beyond reproach. We don't even understand where this man was coming from. We don't even begin to understand. He went into his first of all, his wife ran away. In today's time, with this sick mind that we got, oh, I'm going to kick her. I'm going to mess him, you know. But this Levite, this man of the Almighty, and a lot of us call ourselves man of the Creator, and we're not worthy of that. Even with our sick minds that we're in, it makes us less worthy. You understand? So this Levite had compassion enough to go to her father's house to get his wife. When he goes to her father's house, he allowed the man to keep him past the allotted time that he desired. He sat down and break bread in peace and drank wine in peace. And his wife had just did this great atrocity. I mean, we men, we got to hold a certain honor. Other people are watching. They're watching. But more importantly, We can't allow what we think they might think against us to affect how we deal with those who are under our authority. I don't know if you understand. Okay. We can't think about how people outside of this family is going to think how I deal with my wife because she walked away. You understand? I cannot allow my anger to get to me, because when I go to get her, I'm going to be rough on her. You can't approach it like that. Your spirit has to be, and I'm going to use this word, but I don't like it. I don't use it. I know y'all do, but I don't. Your spirit has to be of a godly nature. You know what I mean? It has to be of a superior nature where you're going to be elevated above that of a common man. That Levite, that individual who conducted himself in such a way, his spirit, there's no other way he could have did it except his spirit was elevated above that of a regular man. He elevated, he grew, and he displayed his growth through his actions. You understand? Read on, please. Let's get it. We almost there.
And
I just want to get it to that little portion. I'm not even going to go to what happened to the Benjamites because it's going to take too long, and I'm already like 2-3 minutes over my time. But let's go.
And I went to Bethlehem in Judah, and I am now going to the house of the Lord. And there is no man that taketh me into his house. Yet there is straw and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me.
See, he got all his food. He don't need nothing from y'all. No. The only thing I need was a place to rest my head. I come in peace. I'm on my way to the Most High's house. Do you hear me? I'm on my way to the Almighty's house. That's it. I don't need your food. I don't need your water. You know, remember they turned away the children of Israel from entering into the land. I believe it was Moab, because they were scared we were going to eat their food all up, and they didn't have enough. Oh, no, don't let them in. No, we come with our own food. Read on, please, because we got to get to this part. Go ahead, because they're going to kick me down from here in a minute. Go ahead.
For the young man that is with thy servant, there is no want of anything. And the old man said,
what did he say? There is no want for anything. We don't need anything. We have what we need. Read on, please.
And the old man said, peace be unto thee. Howsoever, let all thy wants lie upon me, only lodge not in the broad place.
The old man wasn't having that. Mm-hmm. You're in my house now. I don't care what you got, save it. Because when you're in my house, everything that you need, it falls on me. We men have to learn how to honor men. You understand? We have to learn how to honor other men. And we don't do that. We want to be so gangster today. You know what I mean? That's how we want to be thugs. It's foolish, the type of mind state that we have today. Ain't no man gonna tell me what to. Listen, my people are important to me, extremely important to me. But let me tell you what's better, what's more important to me than just you being my people. Those men that the Most High use as an instrument in my life to elevate me to a higher level of what I was. You understand? Because if the Most High chose you, who am I to reject you? Do you hear what I'm saying? I don't care with all your mistakes and all your baggage and all the errors that you have. We got to figure out a way. We have to sit down. I got to sit down. If I got a problem with you, I got to sit down, because these are the men that the Most High chose to allow me to be in the position where I am right now. You understand? So who am I? Am I greater than the Almighty? Are any of you greater than the Almighty to take matters in your own hands and figure out you're going to come together to make something happen? No, that's not how we do things in the Most High's house. It don't go that way, because I'm going to show you. I wish I had a little bit more time. Oh, I wish I had some more time, because there's so much. Oh, no, I don't know. Let's move on. But what I wanted to show you how when Yisrael came together to go against Benjamin, if we get the chance to go down to that part, we went to the Creator. We said, Creator, what we going to do? How many of us should actually go out? The Creator said, let Judah go first. So they went against little Benjamin, and they got beat down. But they came together. They had their minds right. So they thought they had everything. The plan was in place. And they said, we're going to destroy Benjamin. And they did it 2 times, and they ended up getting beat down. It reminds me of a scripture there. There's a way which seemeth right unto a man, but the end of that way is destruction. You know, it reminds me of this woman who packed up and said, I'm out. I'm leaving my husband. She's leaving him. But the end of those ways are destruction. That's why I've come to learn that you don't have to punish them. If they're going to get punished, the Almighty is going to bring it. Read on, please. We're taking it home.
21. So he brought him into his house and gave the asses fodder, and they washed their feet and did eat and drink. As they were making their hearts merry, behold, the men of the city, certain base fellows, beset the house round about, beating at the door. And they spoke to the master
Let
of the
us
house.
in, let us in.
The old
You
man
got something
saying,
in it that I want. Wait a minute. Yeah, man. Sodom and Gomorrah. Let us in, let us in. Who Benjamin in here? We got Benjamites in here? Okay, I can make fun of them then. Because I want to be able to leave out the door at the end of the day and get in my car and pull off, you know? So wait a minute, they might be outside. I bet it's not. No, I'm going to make no fun of them. I ain't going to make fun of them. All right, I'm going to leave them alone. I ain't going to make fun of them. I'm going to leave them alone because I want to make it back to Philadelphia tonight. And I ain't bring my piece, and my 42 friends ain't with me. So I want to make it home tonight. So Benjamin might be outside because I know it's some around. So, yeah. So let's hurry up so I can get out of here real soon. Hurry up. Go ahead. We're going to get him.
And they spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, bring forth the man that came into thy house.
Well, wait a
that
minute.
we
They
may
didn't see
know
that
him.
beautiful young lady.
No.
They didn't see her. They didn't see her.
No.
All they saw was the men. Again, I pull emphasis on this because I want us to see how sick we are in our minds. All right? We are so far off cue that if we turn completely to righteousness, remember I said about not giving up? How many of us actually think we are doing the very best we can to be the very best we can in this walk? You said you raised your hand? Well, I'm going to tell you you're not. I'm going to tell you to do it 20 times harder than you're doing it now.
Always.
Listen, the things that are difficult in our life right now that are tearing us down and making us hurt are things that you ignored when they first arose in your life. You first ignored them when they came up because you thought you had time. You understand? But you can't ignore these things. You got to deal with them when they show. I got so much I want to say, but they just gave me the peace sign, you know, the little get out of here thing. I got to go. I love you, my family. May the Most High be with you and bless you. Shalom, shalom, Shabbat, shalom.
Hallelujah. Praise the Most High. Everybody remain standing. We're going to close out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Bless thee, O Heavenly Father, supreme intellect of the universe, Yah, our forefathers, Yah, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. See, I done roam and I done travel in lands that are not our own. On these roads are uphill battles, and I am not alone. And so I realize this is not our home. Whoa, my Yah, come help me. I have endured
A
a
lot of pain.
This is slavery, but with a different Pharaoh, and we don't think we're slaves. Remove the shackles from our brains. He's with me through the valley of the shadow of death, my destiny is in the presence of my King. Whoa, with him there is freedom. Please make us like we used to be.
Nah, y'all.
All honor, all glory to the supreme intellect of the universe. Yah of our forefathers. Yah Abraham. Yah Yitzchak. Yah Yaakov. Hallelujah. Praise to your merciful King. Forgive us for all sins and iniquities, Almighty. Allow our hearts to be hearts of a lion as we walk through these shadows of death, Almighty King. Place in our heart, a pure soul, a pure mind, O Most High. TORAH for blessing our mouth this day and allowing the words to be pure from the heart, O great King. Allowing us to use your Torah to speak greatness, to speak words that are so divine. Give us a heart. Give us the legacy we need to stand on, Heavenly Father. Turn the disgusted eye that has been towards us into a positive light, O Most High. Allow the nations to revere us, to fear your children, Almighty King. Allow us not to run to others to give glory and praise to you, but find glory and praise inside of our own, O Heavenly Father. But you are a rock and you are a redeemer, O Most High. Our God, we thank you for giving strength for our leader, Nasi Hagadol. We thank you for our leaders that stand before you, such as Cohen Hagadol, O Most High, Nasi Yaakov, all the great ones, Rabbi Ford and Rabbi Matthews, O Heavenly Father, that laid a foundation, Almighty, that gave us a legacy, that gave us strength. Please, Almighty King, allow this building to resurrect itself into great righteousness. Allow it to build an empire. Allow Goshen to build a community for you, O great King, where your people can mingle and enjoy themselves and dwell in peace and harmony, doing your law, your statutes, and your commandments. Almighty power, we give honor and glory unto thee, and to thee alone do we praise by coming together and saying, Hallelujah! 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 Praise the mighty Yah. Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
We pay homage.
We pay homage
to the power of Abraham.
to the power of Abraham,
To the power of Yitzchak.
to the power of Yitzchak,
To the power of Israel.
to the power of Israel.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Praise the mighty Yah.
Praise the mighty Yah.
Salah.
Hallelujah. We will start back at 5 o'clock. Hallelujah.